Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now. Black power!
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Thursday, April 2nd, 2026, coming up at Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Lots of discussion about capitalism. Does it actually work for black folks? A lot of people were talking about this discussion that Mark Lamont Hill, others had on the Joe Budden podcast, and where he argued that it actually doesn't. Well, John Hope Bryant, founder and CEO of Operation Hope, has a new book called Capitalism for All, here to talk about that. Pam Bondi, you're fired. The twice-impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief, Donald Trump, fired the now former Attorney General today. We'll tell you who he's putting in place. A federal judge has dismissed multiple claims of a civil rights lawsuit filed by the family of a black man who was shot and killed by Alabama police officers in September 2023. The judge, however, ruled that their suit against the officer who actually pulled the trigger can move forward. A black South Carolina couple files a federal lawsuit against a South Carolina state trooper, accusing the trooper of wrongly holding their family at gunpoint last year. The couple and their attorney will join us. In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis signed a version of Trump's SAVE Act into law as this year marks the 10th anniversary of Black Voters Matter. Well, guess what? Folks are already saying they're going to file lawsuits against that particular law. We'll be joined by Cliff Albright, co-founder of Black Voters Matter and then executive director. All right, folks, I spoke with Michigan Congresswoman Representative Haley Stevens about her upcoming run for the United States Senate in Michigan, one of the seats Democrats desperately need to hold on to. Plus, in our Shop Black Star Network Marketplace, we'll talk to the publisher, the global, first of all, a global manga-inspired comics brand that puts diverse creators front and center. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
We're facing perilous economic times right now. Obviously, gas prices, $4 a gallon. People are talking about the issue of affordability. An increasing number of people are talking about the widening wealth gap in this country between the haves and the have-nots. The question is, does capitalism actually work for non-rich people? Well, John Hope Bryant, the founder of Operation Hope, says that, guess what? There is a thing called Capitalism for All. This is a copy of this cover of his new book, titled that, and he joins us right now. All right, John, glad to have you here. It's interesting because just the other day, there was this conversation that was taking place on Joe Budden's podcast, and they were having this discussion regarding Jay-Z and capitalism, and Mark Lamont Hill was talking about that. He made the point that he doesn't believe that that there should be billionaires. Other people have said that when you have billionaires in this country, that means that other people have suffered in order for them to get to that point. We see this wealth gap in this country. An increasing amount of this nation's wealth is in the hands of not even the top 1%, but the top, 0.01%. And so, but you make the case capitalism for all. Explain.
Honored to be with you, Roland. Look, Lamont Hill is not wrong. Capitalism and democracy are horrible systems, except for every other system. I've been to 100 countries, man, and there is no perfect. It's screwed up all around the world, or there is screw up all around the world. But I couldn't have gone from Compton, California and South Central Los Angeles, and Mark Lamont Hill couldn't have gone from wherever he came from, and Button also to be one of the top podcasts in the world with a multi-million-dollar valuation, and he's getting a salary from that, by the way, which is capitalism. And everybody watching them are able to watch it because they can afford to pay their phone bill, which is capitalism, and they're in their car listening to it, which is capitalism, and They're at home, with the utilities of work on, which is capitalism, and you're going to the nail salon, and that's capitalism. They're not doing your nails for free. And you're going to the gas station, which is these high gas prices, and that's owned by a local small business owner in your neighborhood in many cases, and that's capitalism. And, the liquor store, and the drug dealer, that's capitalism. That's bad capitalism. But it's from the bottom to the top, wherever, if your day's not about God or love, your day's about money. So I think we need to stop the wrong discussion and start the right one. Let's stop wasting our time arguing about stupid stuff. Even if you just work for somebody, you're using your human capital and trading that for a paycheck. And that is, because you're not doing it for free. And I was able to come from Compton, California to South Central LA and to wherever I am today with a crane behind me that I'm a part owner in. I'm at the Hotel Phoenix here in Atlanta, Centennial Yards, a new $5 billion downtown for Atlanta, CIM group, that a bunch of Black investors helped us stand up along with the Ressler family and CIM group. And 30% of the workers here in the contracts are people who look like us by mandate. Well, that's Black capitalism. Atlanta, my wife calls Wakanda. That's $580 billion a year. That's Black capitalism. So the system is screwed up, and we're out of balance. Bad capitalism is where I benefit, and you pay a price for it. Slavery, human trafficking, drugs, murder and mayhem. There's all kind of subprime mortgages in 2008 by Wall Street. And there's good capitalism, where I benefit and you benefit more. I think your show is good capitalism. Can't do this show without revenue. Can't do the Breakfast Club without revenue. We'll be on there tomorrow. You can't get a job. People listening to this can't get a job or have a business where people are coming in as customers in our neighborhoods without capitalism and free enterprise. People say, Roland, I hate rich people. No, you don't. You hate rich people until you become rich. What you hate is a gamed system. What you hate is a system that no matter how hard I work, that you work, you can't seem to get ahead. You got 2 jobs and 3 contracts and 2 side gigs, and you look at some half-wit on TV on Wall Street that's lazy, shiftless, and uneducated or untalented, and they're a millionaire, a billionaire, and you go, okay, this system is wrong. Okay, we can get with that. Let's ungame the system. Rockefeller wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but without him, you wouldn't have libraries. You wouldn't have Spelman College here because I believe his wife is named after his wife or his sister. They put the money up for that. I mean, we can go on and on and on. Even if you want to distribute money like a socialist, you have to first collect it like a capitalist. My problem is we're not involved in the system at all. And if you don't mind me saying this, the first time I'm saying it on broadcast, anything, I'd like to make a provocative statement on your broadcast, if that's okay, Roland, about the state of us. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're in trouble in a way that we don't understand. We think we've made it. First Reconstruction, slavery. Second Reconstruction, freedom. Second Reconstruction, access, civil rights movement. Ambassador Young is downstairs. By the way, we're going to go to the New Edition concert, which is capitalism. All right, you can't buy those tickets without money and a job, and they can't make any money, the New Edition, without getting revenue. But anyway, Second Reconstruction, civil rights movement. We've been riding off the fumes of the civil rights movement for 70 years. And with that, fairness amongst the government. So civil rights bill, affirmative action, DEI, set aside contracts, but right to vote, Voting Rights Act, Fair Housing Act. We never thought that there'd be a federal government that was antagonistic of us, at the very best neutral to us. But now we find they may be actually even an affront to us. And now all of those protections at the judicial, executive, and legislative branch seem to be falling away in real time. All of the things we thought were norms falling away. We find that we didn't make it. It was made for us by the icons of the civil rights movement, for which you are a historical expert on. We have never tried, and then on top of that, you have brutal capitalism now coming in with brute force and AI, changing all the game, on top of that, all at the same time. On the 250th anniversary of America and the 100th anniversary of Black History Month, thank you, Carter G. Woodson, can't make this up. As Ambassador Young would say, coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. I think the whole country's having a colonic right now. One huge digestive, who are we going to be when we wake up moment. And we're sitting in a moment in history in the third Reconstruction. So this is not a book. This is a business plan. And I wrote a business plan for Black America. They can go online and download it right now. It don't involve the government, and that gets us from zero net worth by 2053, the projection, to 3.5 trillion by 2053 without ever talking to the government. Now, I'm gonna stop talking and let you.
But how? But how? Because here's what interesting. When Trump went over to Saudi Arabia, when he went, and 32 CEOs went with him. When I look at, listen, the White House is 2 blocks from where we sit right now. The reality is corporate America is directly tied to government. When I see what's happening right now with what they want to pull back with the SEC, when I look at what's happening with AI, when I look at contracts, all those things, the reality is corporate America is extremely tied to government. And I keep making the point. There are only 2 pools. There are only really well, if you say 3 pools of money: individual money, corporate money, government money. And the reality is, the folks, when I look at the folks who do get rich in this country, they're tied to government. Even the project that you're talking about there in Atlanta, the Centennial Project, government plays a role in that. And so the question then becomes, right now,
some tax benefits too.
Yeah. So right now, because government has the ability to create those tax benefits. Yeah. You look at the data centers that are being run. They're seeking massive tax breaks from cities, counties, states as well. And so a person who's watching, a person who is not a lobbyist, a person who's not tied into that, the question really becomes, okay, how does capitalism work for them? In a way that Joe Madison would always say, you got to put it where the ghost can get it, to where they understand.
Yeah. So let's deal with the conflict. Let's go right to the heart of the conflict first. Is this a good system? Is it fair? Is it reasonable? I was at Clark Atlanta University last night for the kickoff of the tour for Capitalism for All. It was a packed house, and a student walks up, Sister John, explain to me the fairness of capitalism. How is this system fair? My response is, it was never designed to be fair. Fair ain't got nothing to do with it. Business is not personal. It's just business. And we got to get the emotions out of this. So I'm explaining this, as you say, go to where the goats can get it. Capitalism is a table with 2 chairs. You got the consumer on one side, you got the capitalist on the other. Let's assume for the moment I'm the capitalist. The consumer's job is to pay the least amount for the product in question while getting the most value. That's their job. My job on the other side of that table is to extract the most price out of this while giving the least value in return. The consumer's doing their job. I'm doing my job. And a good negotiation is where everybody leaves that table slightly annoyed because nobody got everything they wanted. And in a third world country, you haggle on the street corner. People in Africa, and 54 countries in Africa, are doing capitalism while we're talking about it right now. They're negotiating with somebody about the cost of that bread, a vegetable, or whatever it is, sandwich, but you're negotiating the price between consumer and producer in real time. In America, in London, wherever, developed country, the price has been set already because the researchers have figured out what you're willing to pay for it. And the people who are watching this say, you know what, that comb, that brush, that wave cap, that's worth $20 for me. The haircut at the barbershop, that's worth $70 for me, or $50, whatever it is. The nail salon, okay. So fair exchange is no robbery. No one's even taking care of your kids, unless it's your grandma, without you paying them, right? So it's all capitalism, and it's not personal, and we need to stop making it personal. You mentioned about the government. Yes, this is an interactive relationship, but it should be good capitalism. Good capitalism, as I said earlier, is where I benefit and you benefit more. Bad capitalism, slavery, as example, is bad capitalism, and I benefit and you pay a price for it. Good debt is where I tie to something that appreciates: homes, stocks, bonds, cash, businesses. Bad debt is where it's tied to something to depreciate, financing jewelry. So we've been in this consumer economy that everybody's taking advantage of. I'm just sick and tired of it. Michael Meck said we've been bamboozled, we've been tricked, we've been fooled, we've been hoodwinked. When somebody says, why should I try capitalism? I say, well, why don't you ask the question about why should you try God? God cannot possibly mismanage and screw up your life worse than you have. It's not like we tried capitalism, free enterprise at scale as a community, and it never worked out. Folks want to talk about Tulsa. Okay, let's talk about Tulsa. You know this, you're a historian. That was one community, a few square blocks. Wasn't a city, wasn't a county, wasn't a state. A few square blocks, a brilliant example of us owning our stuff. Yes, racists came in, burned it down. Then the next story, we rebuilt it. What nobody talks about is that lasted until 1960-ish. What happened? It wasn't racists running in. We got integration because of the Second Reconstruction, and understandably so. We wanted to figure out what the white man's water tasted like. We wanted to go to the white man's dentist. We wanted to go to the white man's car dealership. We wanted all the stuff we were denied. We wanted to go check it out. Well, that removed the enclosed economy that's protecting and building up Tulsa, and it literally just slowly died. So it ultimately wasn't the riots that killed it. It was market dynamics that we didn't understand because we were not sophisticated in this space. And I want to ungame this system.
Yeah, but
if you go ahead.
So you're making the argument in the book about economic inclusion, yet we are operating right now where market forces don't even want to hear the word inclusion, where it is a dirty, nasty word. So okay, and you have corporations at literally we have an administration. Federal administration, and then now it's filtered down to where Republicans control states, same thing. You got Texas, got rid of its HUB program, that 15,000 businesses, many of them African-American, that was a program that was put in place by Republican Governor George W. Bush. So explain how in this current climate, you're arguing to embrace economic inclusion where the market, where people are saying, I don't even want to hear the word inclusion.
Yeah, so I'm actually not talking about economic inclusion. I'm not talking about DEI. I'm not talking about diversity. I'm not talking about affirmative action. In fact, DEI is dead on arrival. I mean, first of all, we were fifth on the list when we started arguing about it, right? So why are you arguing about something you fifth on the list?
So define. So when you say economic inclusion, define that.
I'm not talking about economic inclusion. I'm talking about inclusive economics. So I've come up with a phrase, an approach that we have tested is politically neutral. It's hard to hit. And again, this book is not about morals. It's 200 pages of math. Once you read this book, and I'm going to get into some specific examples to address your concerns, so there's not philosophical, it's practical and specific, my next sentence. But this book is not, you need to take this book. People are going to take this book. By the way, thanks everybody for making it top 100 on Amazon today, 2 days after it's top 100 of all books in the world, new releases. You may take this book, go to page 88, section 42, page 42, section 3, and give a fact that is undeniable. Here's one. There are 10,000 baby boomers, read white, wealthy, male, all trying to play golf at the same time. 10,000 white, wealthy men, baby boomers, are retiring, 65 years of age, and walking out the economy, rolling every day. Not every month, not every week. It's never happened in history. In the biggest economy in the world, they're walking out the door every day, 10,000 of them. That has to be replaced. Now let's look at so who are we in 1953? We were 80% black, 90% white. It's a stunning number, this country. Now it's 40% black and brown. Within a decade, a majority of minorities, okay? I do a very specific test in the book about a 50-year data sample that proves the point. Black folks, because of black folks, we had affirmative action, President Kennedy, President Johnson, honorary President Dr. King, and some thought that's too much push, too much progress. Here comes Nixon in response to that. We could argue, by the way, Abraham Lincoln ushered in President Johnson, Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, too much progress. Here comes this Southern segregationist, first Reconstruction, President Johnson. You could argue that happened with President Obama, has ushered in this other situation today. Let's go back to the facts of the matter. So you have women who get put in, white women, into benefit from affirmative action under Nixon, who, by the way, introduced affirmative action, a Republican president, all right? Created the National Minority Business Development Agency, a Republican president.
Yeah, well, actually, affirmative action was introduced by LBJ. It was put into policy by Nixon and Arthur Fletcher. Go ahead.
Yeah, keep it real, Roland. Give me straight on the facts. So white women get the benefit that black folks teed up. Okay, I have no problem with that. I'm glad somebody benefited. Here comes after that, our smart black women slotting in, Latinos, Asians, Indians, all slotting in. So is that a moral message? No. Today, what's the result? $30 trillion economy? $8 to $10 trillion every year are women. And women couldn't get a bank account in 1972. A woman couldn't get a loan unless her husband co-signed it. A white woman, a white blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman in 1972 could not get a loan unless her husband co-signed it or a bank account. So the inclusion of them in the economy expanded the economy. What's happening now is bad math. You can't grow the economy by making it smaller. Immigrants, it's shocking. What's the immigrant contribution to the American economy? You listen to the pundits, it's zero, it's negative. It's actually 18%. I'll slow that down and say it again. Almost 20% of $30 trillion a year are immigrants. What percentage of bank accounts are being opened in the biggest banks in the world in America today of new to America, new immigrants from elsewhere, Africa, Nigeria, Latin America, Brazil, Asia, wherever? What's the percentage? Almost everything, well above 65%, because 95% of white folks got an account already. So my point is we're arguing about the wrong thing. In fact, we're arguing. I like math. It doesn't have an opinion. God still sits on the throne. Badness is just failed, is defined by light. And badness is failed goodness, and darkness is defined by light. I believe on the 250th anniversary of America, God has sent a message to the biggest economy on the planet. You can't grow. You can't survive another 20 years without speaking Mandarin, Chinese, unless you embrace the least of these God's children, unless the bottom is able to come to the middle and push some of us to the top. My rich friends need my poor friends to do better if only say rich. I'm just making a math case, Roland. I'm not making a moral case. The math is undeniable, and it's all through this book. You cannot succeed. There's not enough successful, college-educated white men, this is not a racial comment, to drive GDP, gross domestic product, for the next 20 years. They need us. I want every white man to be successful. Anybody who wants to take this clip and push it somewhere, I want everybody to be successful. It's just not enough of them. They need us. Even the racist is successful when we succeed, because all boats rise. It's okay if you don't like me. I like me. You keep your drama over there. Let's talk about the only color that's non-racial, that's non-biased, which is green, economic green. You come and increase your credit score at Operation Hope. I guarantee you'll get a credit line. You have a job and a 700 credit score. I'll give you $1,000 if you can't get a $25,000 line of credit or credit card. I'll give you my own $1,000. And I know, because we've done $4.5 billion of access to capital at Operation Hope for our people who look just like you and me. So I'm not selling wolf tickets.
Question.
Next answer is small.
I've got three panelists here. They're ready to ask a question. I'm going to start with Reese Colbert, host of the Reese Colbert Show, Sirius XM Radio out of D.C. And Reese, in your day job, you deal with money, right?
I do. So I'm not the person to talk about the evils of capitalism, because I like money. But my question is, so you said that in your book, you lay out how to increase the net worth without government intervention. So can you give one example of that's practical for like the everyday person, the person who wants to be the next Jay-Z or whatever kind of billionaire, millionaire? What's one thing that they can be doing right now?
Yes, I'll answer that directly. And by the way, I agree with what Jay-Z said about billionaires, by the way. Yes, I can answer that question directly. So Black people have the lowest credit score in America of all groups. And by the way, there's only 3 groups of 200 ethnic groups that didn't use capitalism and free enterprise to set themselves free. Poor whites, and by the way, if race was the only issue there would not be poor whites, and they would not be the biggest group of property in this country. There'd be rich whites. But clearly the rich whites left the poor whites behind. Y'all on your own, Native American Indians and African Americans, not African Africans, not African Caribbeans who have a different approach, African Americans who were enslaved. So put that aside for a minute. Now let me answer your question. African Americans have the lowest average credit score in America. It's 620, which means that my cousin Pookie and them have a 500, 550. You and I have a 700 and 800, and the average, Roland's probably 850. The average is 620. Okay.
No. Actually, I'm not 850 because I pay for stuff in cash, and the credit system don't like that.
I'm 830. Don't put me. I'm 830, honey.
Matter of fact, I ain't even looked it up because I ain't using no credit. But go ahead. I'm just messing. Go ahead.
No, you're not messing. This is a serious conversation. I'm checking my credit score right now. I check it every few days. I think I'm 790 or something because I carry my whole company's on my back. Okay, so let's answer the question. So you can't get a decent car loan at 620. In fact, if it is 580, you're not getting a Mercedes. You're getting the Mercedes payments. And as soon as it breaks down, the secondary car dealership that you bought it from, who makes their money not on selling the car, but maintenance, financial literacy, and the finance department, I'm 792, it just showed. They're going to clean your clock and when you go back with that broken down car. They can't wait for you to bring it back. So you can't get a decent car loan. You can't get a home loan at 620, not a good mortgage. You don't want an adjustable rate mortgage. You want a fixed rate mortgage at prime rates. That requires 680, really 700, right? You can't get a small business loan. We like the bank's racist. No, if your credit score is 580, I'm not giving you a small business loan. You're a bad credit risk. So at 700 a month plus the securitication of your house probably, now you can access a small business loan. So we're literally locked out of credit. Now so if you raise your credit score 100 points, to answer her question succinctly, if we raise our credit score 100 points, as my business plan for Black America says, you can download the plan right now. It's full open source information. If you raise our credit scores less than 100 points, from 620 to 700 over the next 10 years, Black America picks up $750 billion in net worth. Now you take that 700 credit score and you walk to the bank, who, by the way, used to be racist 100 years ago when the Joe family owned it in Alabama. But now that bank is publicly traded and you and I own stock in it in our 401k plan. So you go to the bank, they have to make a loan to make a profit. You say, I'm 700, I got my income, blah, 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 blah. I want to buy a house. Now, you get the house. The number one way you build wealth in America is home ownership. I'm so tired of people arguing about this stupid point. And that's $800 billion of new net worth. So that's 750 billion, 800 billion. That's 1.5, give or take, trillion. We haven't even talked to the government other than paying the government property taxes, which now allows the government, by the way, Roland, to do the tax abatement for the Centennial Yards project and Hudson Yards in Manhattan and all these other things we see going up. Okay, now here's the most powerful one. There's between 88 trillion and $100 trillion in wealth that's going to transfer from baby boomers in the next 10 years on average. I detailed this again in the book. 15% of that are businesses. The kids and the wives and the husbands wants the stocks, the bonds, the cash, the real estate, the jets, the vacation homes. They don't want the businesses. Too much work. There's nothing wrong with the businesses. Why are we doing a GoFundMe campaign on a $20,000 pizzeria in my neighborhood where it's going to go broke probably and your family going to be irritated with you for losing their money? Go in your local neighborhood, wherever you are, Columbus, Georgia, Memphis, Tennessee, wherever you are, find the dentist that owns 3 dental offices, the nail salon that owns 2 locations, the barbershop that has 3 locations. See if the owner is 65, 64, 63, make friends with them. Go meet a white person, go meet a Latino, an Asian, I don't care who they are, black person who owns a business. Befriend them because they have nobody to give that business to. And in 6 months, say, you know what? I think I can buy this business from you. I'd like to own this business. I'm passionate about it. I can go get half of this finance from the bank on the cash flow of this $7 million of this $1 million business. It's already got property. It's already got cash flow and customers. Already has a name. And if you mind taking 40% of the paper back in seller financing, by the way, if I screw up in the next 3 years, you get the business back. Fair exchange is no robbery. If I screw up, you get it back. and I'll raise 10%, $100,000 of the $900,000 of the $1 million purchase price. $900,000 is financed. I'll raise $100,000 in an LLC through a limited liability corporation through a private placement with my friends, a friends round, and we're gonna close this deal. I'm gonna own $1 million business like that.
So let me
$1 million right there. You ain't got the AI. And none of that's the government.
So we were talking about, and then the next question is going to go to Nola and then to Greg. So we're talking about this idea of economic inclusion, inclusive economics. And first and foremost, the individual.
That's my credit score, by the way.
The individual has to confront the reality of their personal finances. So the point is, if we have credit scores that are so low, we're paying much higher. Right. Pardon me. Get it. So if we have low credit scores, we're paying much higher interest rates on cars. People, they are literally renting washing machines, dryers, furniture, things along those lines. And so what they're simply doing is just giving their money away. And so if we raise that credit score, if people go in Operation Hope, helping them to reset, in essence, their finances. Now what it does is it puts you in position now to, first of all, if you get a car, you can get it at a lower interest rate, cheaper note. You can get yourself a house. Now you're building economic equity. So if you decide to now own a home, you now have collateral to be able to work with. And so if we're talking about being a part of this economy, then we have to completely redefine ourselves as individuals and as families, and not just talk about a system if we don't change what is happening individually that puts us in a position to be able to participate in this economy.
Yes, and let me go one step further. I'm gonna make this personal. I grew up in the hood. My credit score was toe up from the flow up. I had a 400. I was homeless at La Tijera and Airport in Los Angeles for 6 to 8 to 12 months of my life. My credit was so bad it was credit. It wasn't even bad. It was credit. It was credit. My credit was bad, and I could have filed bankruptcy. I didn't. I wanted to honor my debts. But my house, they were looking for my car, and the Montero Jeep, the leasing company was hunting for that car, and I could have given up. But I had a secure credit card with a $300 limit. Now banks are offering me 7-figure unsecured lines of credit. I'm black. I'm still the same person. They offer me 7-figure unsecured lines of credit. I'm like, no, I'm good. I got enough. I'm good. And the lines of credit I do have, I don't use. I try to keep them low. So
but hold on, John. Before I go to the lines of credit, though. But the point is, you were in a perilous economic condition. You had to change your personal economic condition. Yes, that's a part of it in terms of the mind. And then once you did that then put you on the proper pathway to be able to begin to build, grow, and get to where you are. But you can't, for the person who's watching and listening, who says, man, I would love to be where John is, they have to also confront where John was and where John was and what he had to do to fix that situation that put him on the road for economic recovery, economic sustainability, economic growth, and then riches and wealth. So there's a process here. So for the person, again, watching, listening, you can't watch an interview of a Jay-Z or hear what John Hope Bryant has done or Robert Smith has done, or even help with what we've done here without asking, okay, what did you have to do and what did you go through that put you in the position to where you are now? Because I can say the exact same thing. I filed bankruptcy. I filed personal bankruptcy. I can then largely because of healthcare costs, because of getting an appendix in 2000. So again, as a part of this, when you talk about capitalism for all, in terms of what you're laying out, is there are steps that we have to confront and deal with, and the steps you can't skip, that you actually have to go through. Nola Haynes, go ahead.
While we're sitting here rolling, I can't make this up. While we're sitting here, Wells Fargo sends me an alert notice, offering me some additional credit, and they send me my credit score.
But again, Wells Fargo is doing that because of what you've built, and they also say how we can build and grow as a business by also helping you. Dr. Nola Haynes, Georgetown University School of Foreign Service out of D.C. What's your question for John Hope Bryant?
Thank you so much, Mr. Bryant. And this was as a political scientist, I listened to your argument very, very carefully. And my understanding of the definition of capitalism has to do with private ownership and controlling the means of production, not necessarily just having a business, but we're talking about controlling the means of production. How do you explain that part to Black people? To control the means of production is very different from opening a business, maybe a restaurant or something like that. We're talking about controlling the means of production. So how do you reconcile that inside of your argument? Also, what do you suggest to Black folks? Because if it's about controlling the means of production, it's a little bit more than just having an LLC.
You basically made the whole case from my book. I'm not talking about increasing income, by the way. This whole conversation about making money, getting that dollar, getting that bag, getting that cash, getting that money, it's a waste of time. All money is a transfer of value. That's all it is. A check. I can write a check on the back of your jacket and put your routing number and your account number and take it to the bank. And the bank has to go huddle in the corner, the manager, to figure out whether they have to cash your jacket or be sued. So we're having the wrong conversation about money. You make money during the day, you build wealth in your sleep. Ownership. The book is about wealth creation, ownership. So what Roland was saying is, first thing you got to own is your mindset. There's a lot of NBA players, NFL players, 70% of them go bankrupt 5 years after retirement. 70% of lottery winners bankrupt 5 years after retirement. We've got to stop obsessing about the money. It's the mindset, and it's ownership. So let's start with owning a home. Well, first of all, start with owning yourself, owning your good credit. Because you never had a billionaire, millionaire, city, state, county, government, anywhere in the world didn't do it on the back of good debt. That is a literal fact.
This is about the definition of capitalism. This is about the definition of capitalism. This isn't about ownership and changing your mindset. I'm dealing with the definition. How do you reconcile the means to production? That's a big thing. I mean, Black people, as far as I know, don't own factories, just like talking about it.
I own the hotel I'm sitting in right now.
That's great.
But this is the point. This is the point. Look, let me make this simple. You're right.
No, don't do that. You don't have to make it simple for me, dude.
No. Hold up, one second. Hold up, 1 second. We do have to make it simple. Let me just go ahead. Okay, let me just say this right now, John, before you make that point. And this is, we do have to make it simple. And the reason we have to make this simple, because y'all, I'm listening to this conversation. I'm asking the questions. I'm also reading the chat room as we talk. And I'm telling you right now, we're losing a lot of people. We have to make this thing, we got to break this thing down in much more simple terms for folk to understand. Otherwise, it's going to be like, okay, I heard a lot of stuff, I still don't get it. And so that's why.
What I was responding to, though, Roland. I felt like that comment
No.
not necessarily explaining how to break down capitalism.
No. I know
that needs to be broken down.
No. I know what you were saying. I simply took what you said and I wanted to expand it, because what I'm saying is, I'm literally, as we are talking, I am looking at more than 3,000 people who are going, I ain't really following this. And so what I am saying is, we do have to simplify this for most people, because they're not having these discussions on a regular basis. John, go ahead.
Let me just give everybody a check that's on this broadcast. Let's see if we can make this relatable. Because I'm more for about a PhD than a PhD anyway. I graduated high school with a good enough diploma, a GED. So I didn't even get an advanced degree. So let me just make this real simple. Anybody listening to this who makes $60,000 or less, you call my office tomorrow, I'm gonna get you a check. If I don't give you a check, I'm gonna give you a $500. I'll give you a $500 check. If you work, and let's assume you make $38,000, you got 3 children, you qualify for the Earned Income Tax Credit. if you never heard the EITC, this is financial literacy and capitalism and ownership. If you never heard of EITC, congratulations, it's retroactive for 3 years. So now versus a $7,500 check that the government gives you back in a refund, you get 3 times that. You get almost $20,000. You take that $20,000, you make $38,000. You either pay off that car note or put a down payment on a house or pay off your credit cards, which relieves the stress, or you start a business, but you buy some stock, but you reset your life. And that's the power of financial literacy and the power of capitalism. That's financial literacy, the government, as you just said, Roland, working your mindset and taking that money and doing something useful with it. Now, I just gave you some money, and it's basically the more money, the less money you make and the more children you have, if you're working, the bigger the EITC refund check. 1 out of 4 Americans, read Black mostly, who earn EITC benefits never ask for it. So that's $20 billion a year. Poof, while we're sitting there arguing, somebody should be getting a check. We need to be doing rallies about earned income tax credit. That's Black folks and their money. I'm just tired of having debates. I'm on this broadcast because I respect you, Roland, but I'm tired of having discussions about philosophy. People are broke. And if we don't do something different in Black America, and I really respect the lady, the academic actually, who just talked about it, and she's necessary in the discussion. But I don't argue about history. I don't argue about reparations. I'm not arguing. I'm telling you what I've done. I'm telling you that this works, and I'm telling you, until we try this at scale and we fail, I don't want to hear anything. Because our net worth by 2053 is scheduled to be zero. Zero.
Question from Dr. Greg Carr, Department of African American Studies, Howard University out of D.C.
Thank you, Roland, and thank you, Brother Bryant. I think we agree on just about everything. Capitalism is for all. What we might disagree is good capitalism and bad capitalism. Those Africans that trafficked us, for example, didn't realize that they were the foundation for the capitalist system we live in now. That's why we're speaking English. My question to you would be about state capitalism, what might be called socialism in some countries, what might be called state capitalism here, and the role it plays. Roland asked a question very early that I would kind of echo, but before I do want to say something as you sit in Atlanta. And again, we're not going to get into that. You say you didn't really talk about the history, but I will mention Dr. King in this regard. They were in Newark near the end of Dr. King's life, and they had just come from a meeting with Amiri Baraka. And Andrew Young said to Dr. King, when Dr. King said, I understand the poor, I understand those who don't have money, and I feel their pain. And Andrew Young said, well, I don't know, Martin. It's not the entire system. It's only part of it, and I think we can fix that. At which point Martin Luther King said, according to Harry Belafonte, I don't need to hear from you, Andy. I've heard enough from you. You're a capitalist, and I'm not. So we're not going to see eye to eye on this and a lot of other stuff. Now, that having been said, I think I take the Hosea Williams position. Wakanda is beautiful if everybody got a house to live in, but that's a different story. Capitalism requires a working class and an unemployed class. Everybody can do what you've done. It's the same message Booker T. Washington was saying. You got Black millionaires, but in order to have a capitalist system where that works, it has to include everyone, and everyone means you got to have some unemployed people and some working class people, and maybe you can put a few more up into more money and more wealth. But my question to you is, what is the role of the state? This is the question that Roland asked. Even in a world where you say we better learn Chinese because it's state capitalism in China that has made it the world's factory, is going to mean that people living in the United States of any color are finding themselves caught increasingly in a global trade network, supply chains. We see the Strait of Hormuz, the BRICS. We see what Russia is doing and why they ease sanctions against them. A system in which your ability to generate wealth in the United States of America is about to be severely limited in a world system where some countries are taking some of the wealth they're generating and investing in their people. How does the United States pursue a similar approach? And is that even possible in a country where we are taught that we should go for self? Shout out to Jay-Z, who created all kind of gentrification in Brooklyn and the whole city of Atlanta, as far as I'm concerned. How do we do that at the same time that we preaching a message of everybody can achieve and build a certain level of wealth? What's the role of the state in this?
And I've got 2 minutes left, so there you go.
Man, this is like the most important part of the whole dang on conversation.
Oh, I know. Unfortunately, we blocked 20 minutes. I wish I would have said I knew that wasn't enough time.
I want to come back with just to spend 30 minutes on that brother's point. Let me see if I can do this, because even in Atlanta here, you have a huge unbanked population. And this is a city with 7 black mayors. You got black wealth all over the place. You still have black poverty here. But anyway, let me see if I can address this quickly. You're right. The current system in America is not going to work. You cannot grow the economy by making it smaller. The immigrant approach is not going to work. The minority approach is not going to work. The protectionist approach is not going to work. We need a state that does financial literacy for all legislation, K through college. You need a state, as in the state. You need a state that has a safety net at the bottom so people don't fall through the cracks. Healthcare should be a national norm. You need a state that does internships and gives tax credits for it. Why are we the most philanthropic nation in the world? Because you get a tax credit for it. Why is it a 75% ownership rate amongst financially literate white people? Because because the entire tax code enforces and supports home ownership. You write off every payment. So we need a tax code that supports internships, supports apprenticeships, supports financial literacy, supports investing in inclusive economic businesses from underserved communities, from black and brown urban to poor white rural. We need a tax system that takes people at the bottom and pushes them up the ladder to the middle and the top, or a shot at the top. And people like the socialist conversation. As you know, sir, I'm sure you know this, all socialism is a taxing system. The Nordic countries are capitalists. Sweden is timber. Norway is oil, right? They're making money. It's just that half of that money goes to the state, so you don't have anybody at the bottom, but there's also nobody like us.
That's exactly right.
Us at the
That's
top.
right.
So I'd love to come back. My wife, by the way, told
brother.
me, I'm so passionate. She said, John, calm down. People might think you're being aggressive. Thank you, Shatra. I'm just passionate. But I'd love to come back. I love that. That's a whole rap, right?
Right, but that actually again it speaks to what I'm talking about. So we'll do this here. We're gonna have a part 2, and you're gonna turn them alerts off. All them people texting you right now. So I done told you about that doing television. I've been hearing that damn beeping for 45 minutes. Getting on my damn nerves, see? All right, and Shatra should have took your phone and turned them alerts off because it was beeping. Sure. All right, so we're going to have a part 2. Folks, pull the graphic up. Again, the book is...
By the way, get the book and let's debate it.
One second. John, hold on. The book is Capitalism for All, Inclusive Economics and the Future-Proofing of America. Henry, go to my iPad. Y'all were asking the question. Y'all were asking what number to call. Go to operationhope.org. Operationhope.org. John, what is the number they can call? Is it 800 number? Because again, people all in the chat saying, "Hey, where do we call?" Because they want to get their credit stuff straight. Say it again.
888-388-HOPE. They can also download the Hope in a Hand app on their phone, on Androids and iPhones. They can go to the website, operationhope.org. And I've scholarshiped everybody into free coaching and counseling. So I'll give you $1,000 to a $2,500, maximum $5,000 scholarship for annual coaching to get your credit score up, your debt down, your savings up, so the bank will tell you yes.
And again,
do that
folks,
for free.
And what you just said right there in 10 seconds, I need people to understand. You cannot be a participant in a system, and if you want to be able to have wealth, if you do not get your personal finances straight, that's where literacy is critically important. So we will have that part 2. Enjoy the New Edition concert. Tell my guys what's up. Tony Braxton is great, plus Boys to Men. It's going to be a phenomenal time. So wear some comfortable shoes because you're not going to sit down. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
We got a whole posse going too.
Well, trust me, ain't nobody gonna be sitting down. So go to the bathroom early, get your food, cause it's a nonstop. I appreciate it.
All three of them, other than you, Roland, geniuses. All 3 of them, the 2 ladies and the brother, except for you, geniuses.
Oh, I already know I'm a genius. You ain't gotta tell me that. I'm good. All right, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Peace and light.
All right, folks, we come back. We're gonna talk to a Black South Carolina family who's filed a federal lawsuit against a state trooper there for holding them at gunpoint. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Why does it feel like we're going backward? Voting rights under attack, schools stripped of funding, Black history erased. This is the Trump MAGA agenda. They want to take us back. They are redrawing congressional lines in states across the country, deciding who gets power and who gets silenced. We see what this is, a power grab. Virginians won't be fooled. Show up, vote, take back our power. It's a temporary measure that gives the people, not politicians, the final say. Vote yes by April 21st.
Hey, what's up? Geek Tony in the place to be. Got Cake Touch at Mama's University, creator and executive producer of Fat Tuesdays, a hip-hop comedy. But right now, I'm rolling with Roland Martin, unfiltered, uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable. You hear me?
Folks, a Black South Carolina couple has filed a federal lawsuit claiming a South Carolina state trooper wrongfully held their family at gunpoint last year. In Cartrez Bush and Jasmine Scott's complaint filed Tuesday, the South Carolina Department of Public Safety and Trooper Kyle J. Lyman are accused of gross negligence, negligent supervision, false imprisonment, violation of due process, unreasonable seizure, and excessive force in connection with the May 4th incident. According to the lawsuit, Lyman conducted the stop based solely on a third-party 911 complaint alleging that Rush was transporting stolen dirt bikes and a four-wheeler inside a U-Haul trailer attached to the truck. Their teenage daughter, Caitlin Rush, who was 14 at the time, recorded some of what took place. Take a look.
Record. I am.
Wait, don't open the door, King. Right there. Oh, my dad.
Come on out, ma'am. We're gonna come right back here, okay? Can y'all come out the truck? Come on out the truck.
Okay.
I see you got your seatbelt on. Come on out. You good? We're gonna come right back here, okay?
Okay.
We're gonna come right back there.
Attorney Tyler Bailey represents the family. He joined us now along with Cartrez Rush, as well as Jasmine Scott, and we have a fourth guest as well, and also joined by Caitlin Rush. Okay, so first and foremost, y'all were traveling, and all of a sudden you get pulled over. Was any reason given?
Roland, let me start off first. Thank you for having us on, and I'm gonna let Mr. Rush talk as well. But I'll tell you right now, there was never any justifiable reason for the Rush family being stopped that day. They were driving, minding their own business, and this officer got a dispatch call. It was bogus from the start. He didn't not know the information he was even talking about. But I'll let Mr. Rush talk about that. There was never a justifiable reason for them being stopped. And there certainly was never a justifiable reason for guns being pulled and them being treated like criminals, violent criminals for no reason. Cartrez, go ahead.
Hey, Mr. Roland, thank you for having us. But basically, we were traveling from our hometown. My wife's an event planner, and we were traveling back to our hometown, and I noticed the police car behind me in the blue lights. So I pulled over, put my truck in park, and as I was reaching for my license and registration, thinking that one of the officers were going to approach the vehicle, I heard some yelling in the background. And when I looked up in the mirror, my daughter said, "Dad, they're pointing guns at us." So they started yelling, they're pointing guns at us, and at this point, they're telling us to put our hands out the window. So my wife advises my daughter to go ahead and start recording, because at this point, we have no explanation, completely clueless on why we got guns drawn on us. So later, me and my wife get out the car and had to leave the kids in the back seat crying, whimpering, and we back up toward the sound of the police officer's voice, and they immediately put us on the ground, put us in handcuffs. Still no explanation, no identification, don't even know who we are. So at this point, we're just completely clueless and afraid, and we still got our kids in the truck crying, scared.
How many kids were in the vehicle?
3.
3 kids. So it was 5 of you total.
5 total, yes, sir.
Okay, so Attorney Tyler Bailey. All right, so the cops said they got a call from dispatch.
Yeah, so what happens?
Who the hell called? Because first of all, y'all were driving, what kind of vehicle were you driving?
It's a black dually truck, and they're towing a U-Haul because Miss Scott,
I got it. But I'm just trying to visually set the scene for the audience. So you're driving on a highway in a truck with a U-Haul. Okay, the U-Haul I would assume is closed.
Yeah.
So nobody knows what's in the U-Haul.
Nobody.
So all of a sudden, the officer said he gets a call from who?
He gets a call from some random person who's on the phone with dispatch. They patch him through. His first story is, I'm following a dually truck who stole some dirt bikes and a four-wheeler from me, and he's trying to tell the police where they are. Next, he says, somebody told me that they saw them steal the dirt bike and the four-wheelers. It seems to be a quintessential case of swatting. This could have been somebody that they passed on the road and just decided to call a bogus tip on them.
No, but I want to unpack that. Okay, so again, so somebody calls and says, "Yo, I saw something stolen." There's no corroboration. There's nothing else there. And so the trooper just automatically stops the vehicle by just taking this person's word for it?
That's exactly what happened. And on top of that, he stops the vehicle, but pulls his firearm out immediately. And so, like Mr. Russ said, when he sees the blue lights behind him, he's thinking maybe the officer trying to get around him because he wasn't doing nothing wrong. And he finally pulls over, guns are immediately drawn, and they're asked to hold their hands outside the window until backup comes, which is about a 6-minute period where Jasmine's hands are out the window, so is Cartrez's hands. And out of instinct, from seeing so many of these situations across the country, Cartrez tells his daughter to record.
Okay, the person who called, have y'all obtained the recording of that call?
We have the recording of the call.
Did the dispatch, because I've driven on roads and somebody's driving crazy, zooming in out of traffic, or I have seen an accident and I'll call in and they'll say, "Sir, what's your name and your number?" Did they get any information on the person who called?
They got some information on the person who called, but as of right now, we don't know if that was even factual information. It could have been a fabricated name and number, and they never provided any of that information in the reports about the caller.
Now when you call 911, your number shows up. So they actually, if I'm correct, they should have the phone number of whoever called.
They should have the phone number. We tend to hold everybody accountable, the officers, the departments, and this person who put this family at risk of losing their lives and has them walking around now with this scar emotionally, psychologically, that's not going to leave them. So we're going to look for everybody.
Right. So when y'all got pulled over, was it one state trooper in the vehicle or two?
You have one state trooper in the vehicle. He calls backup. He calls SLED, which is South Carolina Law Enforcement Division. You have 2 county departments that come, and then some more troopers come later. So all in all, there's multiple guns that end up being drawn on the family.
So what are we talking about? 5, 6, 8?
About 5 officers.
So we got about 5 officers drawing guns, all based on a phone call alleging something was stolen, and we have no basis of fact to establish that.
That's right. No basis.
After this, Cartrez, you and your family had to go through counseling. How have y'all dealt with this? Because the reality is that is a traumatic situation.
Absolutely. I mean, the day after, basically, I had to take my daughter out of school because she couldn't even complete the entire school day because she had to go to the guidance counselor. And I started counseling, and, we were going to counseling periodically, like twice a week. I mean, it has affected us to the point that when I get in my truck now, my kids are so traumatized. They constantly analyze everything I do. Dad, slow down when I'm doing the speed limit. Dad, put your seatbelt on. Please don't do anything to get pulled over by the police again. And it's so hard for me because we teach our kids at a young age that these police officers are the people that are supposed to protect you. These are people that you can feel safe around. So, I grew up old school as far as stranger danger. Like, police officers are the only people that get a stranger danger pass. And this one incident that they come encounter with the police, you got their parents at gunpoint. Now, how do I explain to my little boys that we was teaching you 4, 5, 6 years in a row, these are the people that you feel safe around, but now these are the people that got you in a life-threatening situation. So, I mean, it's hard, man. It's real hard.
Absolutely, it is. Well, we certainly appreciate y'all coming on. Keep us abreast of what happens next in this case. Certainly traumatic, and folks should be held accountable for what y'all had to go through.
Roland, you mind if I say one last thing?
Yeah.
Caitlin, she's a formidable young woman. Miss Scott Jab, she's currently pregnant right now. 2 boys who saw this as well. Just I encourage viewers to keep them in your thoughts and prayers because this is something that's going to stick with them for a long time. And we're demanding full accountability here. And we hope that everybody who had a role, keeps this family in mind when they decide to make decisions moving forward.
Do we have a last point? Were all of those officers wearing body cams?
Yes, they were. We're going to get all body camera footage, and there'll be more dash camera footage as well.
Got it. All right. I certainly appreciate it. Y'all be well. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, a lot to break down next. We got Black Voters Matter celebrating 10 years. And, of course, we're dealing with this nonsense SAFE Act in Florida. We also going to talk about Pam Bondi being fired by Donald Trump. Paula White making a complete ass out of herself yesterday, literally comparing Donald Trump to Jesus. Yeah, that actually happened. It's a lot we will deal with in the second hour of Roland Martin Unfiltered. Folks, support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars really make it possible for us to do the work that we do. I say this repeatedly, and it's no joke, okay? We don't have these billionaires like Republicans are funding right-wing media, all right? All right? This is the only Black-owned news show that's in YouTube's top 100 podcasts every week. We're the only one, okay? We ain't getting checks for $2, $3, $4, $5 million funding this whole deal. So what we've been able to do with this show and 5 other shows is actually build something that nobody else has built. But it takes resources. And listen, there are thousands of people who are watching us right now. And I'm telling you right now, what it takes. I know what it costs every single month. It's $195,000. It's rent. Listen, when we talk about connecting, we don't have home Wi-Fi here, y'all. We literally spend $2,500 a month on fiber to make sure that we have the fastest internet speed. And so when we've lost our signal, we're about to put in a new system where we're going to have redundancy, a second encoder. So if anything happens with the signal, then we stay online. But it takes resources. And we always talk about what we need in black media. We need this, we need that. But it ain't going to happen unless it's funded. And we can't talk about for us, by us. That's the only way this thing is going to happen. So your support is absolutely critical. I'm sitting here right now. These are some checks and money orders that people sent us. I'm actually sitting here literally depositing them during the show. I went to the post office yesterday, picked up some money orders and checks as well. And so again, your support is critical to our success. Folks, if you want to support us via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. This is the Stripe QR code. That's also for credit cards. Checks and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
Virginia, we are counting on you. Republicans want to steal enough seats in Congress to rig the next election and wield unchecked power for 2 more years. But you can stop them by voting yes by April 21st. Help put our elections back on a level playing field and let voters decide, not politicians. This is the responsible thing to do. Help us chart a better path forward, Virginia. Vote yes by April 21st.
A decade of love, joy, and power. Black Voters Matter is 10 years old, and we are just getting started. This is love with a purpose. This is Black joy in motion. This is unstoppable power. Across campuses, neighborhoods, and back roads. Let's go! We show up, not just to vote, but to be seen, to be heard, to belong. We ride together, we organize together. We remind each other that our voices matter, because they always have. Black Voters Matter is about more than ballots. It's about housing and healthcare, clean water and living wages, education, reproductive freedom, and dignity. It's about turning pain into action, turning belief into movement, turning community into power. We don't wait to be invited. We bring the energy. We bring the love. We bring the people. Because when Black communities come together, we don't just survive, we thrive. This is how change happens. This is how history moves. We organize, we build, we win.
My name is Bill Duke, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Folks, the blonde MAGA Barbie has finally been fired. Thursday, Donald Trump fired Attorney General Pam Bondi. Sources say he had been frustrated with her over multiple things, including her handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files and that she had not investigated or prosecuted enough of his political enemies. She's the second cabinet secretary to be let go following the recent firing of MAGA Barbie, ICE MAGA Barbie, Kristi Noem. Trump says Bondi will be replaced for now by Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who will serve as acting Attorney General. You know, the same one who wants more political enemies gone after. In addition to that, he also says she's going to be getting a great private sector job to continue the MAGA agenda. Here's the reality here, Reese. We have a narcissist, a corrupt, vindictive individual who wants fealty from everyone, wants pushback from no one. And, you know, it's interesting when the other day Stephen A. was talking about a number of things, and he mentioned me, and he mentioned want to see my show succeed, but he also said that, you know, I had gone far left. And let me be perfectly clear. I've never self-identified as a Democrat or Republican or even an independent. I'm Black. And when I look at what I care about is Black interest. And what I see here with this man and his administration is pure, unadulterated evil. What this man wants to do is shameful and despicable. When he is rewarding that individual who tried to storm the Capitol, who got shot and killed, by giving her family millions of dollars. Mike Flynn, who pleaded guilty twice, giving him $1.5 million. All these people who he has pardoned, who committed fraud against the American people. The efforts to defund Black America, the target of individuals. The case we just had right there, that family has absolutely no way to seek the federal government to step in because Donald Trump wants to give immunity to all cops. And so I absolutely positively am against this man, his entire administration, because they are pure evil, including Pam Bondi.
Oh, yeah. So as far as Pam Bondi is concerned, Bobby, hasta luego. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. But let's be honest, she was as loyal as we've ever seen an attorney general to the president. I mean, she was basically his concierge. You get a charge, you get a charge, you get a charge. It just so happens that you cannot charge and convict people of crimes that they did not actually commit in some cases. Now, we see a lot of people that go to jail wrongfully convicted. But what she was trying to do was so egregiously wrong, unethical, and illegal that her cases kept getting thrown out. But let's recap Pam Bondi's worst hits. This is the person that withdrew from consent decrees that blood was spilled for to get in the cases of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and even Tyree Nichols down in Memphis. They withdrew, her Department of Justice withdrew from those consent decrees. She also, like you said, aided and abetted Donald Trump's pardon of all those insurrectionists. She has charged, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver is still facing charges for doing her job as a congresswoman, her oversight duty. She's still trying to charge to this day Tish James. We talked about it on last week's show, on last Thursday's show. She's consistently tried to prosecute people who have no business prosecuting. And she has seen to it that people who actually should be locked the fuck up do not face any kind of accountability. Tom Homan, who's the board czar, who was taking money in brown paper bags, where are his charges at? And so in terms of an attorney general, she was as bad as it gets. Lawless, unethical, incompetent, and willing to do Donald Trump's bidding. She debased herself in hearing after hearing. And guess what? You still gonna have to bring your ass in front of Congress and testify about them Epstein files. Because Congressman Robert Garcia said, not so fast. Just because you're not the attorney general anymore, that does not get you off the hook. And so I could not be happier to see her go. And yes, we know that somebody just as bad, if not worse, will replace her. But any kind of person that gets kicked out of this administration, I'm happy to see him go. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Bye, girl.
Yeah, and don't be shocked, Nola, if it's Hartmut Dillon. This is the idiot who's over the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice. This woman is atrocious and pathetic. And yeah, Donald Trump wants 100% fealty. And there's no separation between the White House and the Department of Justice. These people do not believe in checks and balances. And I'll say it again. I want MAGA to be completely decimated in November. I want them to lose the House. I want them to lose the Senate. And all you punk asses out there, let me be real clear, especially some of you loud ass folk who proclaim to be FBA, all man, he or she'll book dancing for the Democrats. All y'all can go fuck yourselves. Because let me be real clear. I know what these people are trying to do. And you damn right. I want them to lose the Senate race in Michigan. We're going to play my interview with one of the candidates. I want them to lose in Alaska. I want them to lose in Maine. I want them to lose in Georgia. I want them to lose in North Carolina. I want them to lose in Texas. I want them to lose in Florida. I don't care. Because what these people are doing, they want you to destroy any and everything in Black America. Again, all y'all FBA, B1, ADOS folks, it don't matter. There is not a single Black attorney who is representing a family who has been the victim of police violence who has any faith that this Department of Justice will intercede and prosecute them on civil rights violations. So all y'all punk asses out there who claim y'all so pro-black, let me say it again. This DOJ don't give a damn. Donald Trump has said 100% immunity for any cop. So, and you're right, the 2 cops in the Breonna Taylor case, they dropped the charges. I can name case after case. So, if y'all can call me whatever names you want to, and y'all can sit here and do all you little punk-ass podcasts and talk behind your microphone about why y'all Simple Simon assholes are saying that Black America is being under assault every single day, and it is being led by Donald Trump and his Department of Injustice, Nola.
Absolutely, 100%. And honestly, I have a message for Kash Patel because, honey, after the few more white women go, he is up next. It's going to be the women first, and it's going to be the little brown guy at the FBI. So just FYI for that. But, you know, all of this, I want to lean in on the 1-6 point even further and kind of drawing in what you just said, Roland. For people out there who align with this administration, especially Black folks, there are very real reasons why people feel that if that is the road that you are traveling on, you are traveling down some very anti-Black roads. And when you do that, that means you are not only moving against yourself, you're moving against us, right? And any time where you have a situation where the so-called law and order GOPers, right, can flip the narrative about January 6th. And I think this is something that's still on my mind because I recently sat down with Harry Dunn. And when you have a Capitol Police officer explain to you in great detail what happened in that day, how that day unfolded, how people were hurt and injured, and you can have Pam Bondi come to the American people, completely switch up that narrative, not only pardon them, but also disrespect the Capitol Hill Police even further by hiring 1-6 insurrectionists. Like the foulness of this administration. So my point is this: if they can say F the police they supposed to love and all these different things to protect insurrectionists, what makes Black people think that they care anything about what is going on in our community, especially when we're talking about situations involving police officers and us? It's always going to be that. Now, that's when you believe the police officers, right? Is when it comes to Black folks and stopping us and killing us, then you believe the cops all day long. But y'all need to really sit down and reevaluate your whole thought process. That man didn't give a damn about the Capitol Hill Police. Not one damn, and looked them straight in their eyes and said, not only we gonna pardon them, we gonna hire them, and we gonna give them some money, because actually 1-6 was y'all's fault. That's how low down and dirty and ghoulish this administration is. If anybody out there thinking they have y'all back for anything, even Pam Bondi, even if she does get a sweetheart job in the private sector, honey, it's going to be more y'all getting thrown up underneath that bus. And it's going to be very interesting to see once accountability comes knocking at y'all's door.
See, Greg, you know, it's really interesting to me, Greg, when I listen to these, when some folks have sent me some stuff, you got these loudmouth fools who love running their mouths, to about, yeah, you know, he'll alpha, he'll represent all alphas. Of course I don't, fool. I represent my damn self. But here's what I do know. What I do know is, and again, I just get a kick out of these FBA, these freedmen, these ADOS people who love running their mouths and who's like, who want to trash Democrats. Oh, and let's be real clear, I've been highly critical of Democrats on this show, so I don't know what meth y'all smoking. But here's what I do know. I got some common damn sense. And here's what I know. This is some basic ass political common sense. It's going to be, except in the California governor's race, where it's a jungle primary and the top 2 winners advance to the general. And if some of them Democrats don't drop out, it could be a Republican who ends up being governor. It's 2 parties in this country. It's going to be a Democrat. It's going to be a Republican. And here's what I know. If the Republicans control the Senate and control the House, they can pass any law they want to, and Trump can sign it. If the Democrats win more House seats, the Democrats become in control. I don't give a shit if y'all don't like Hakeem Jeffries. I really don't care. Because guess what? If the Democrats win 218 seats, then they're going to have a vote amongst themselves as to who the next Speaker of the House should be. So I ain't even having that conversation. I'm talking about stopping MAGA. So if that means that I want more Democrats to win House seats, you goddamn right I do. Because I need evil to be stopped. And that means that more Democrats win Senate seats, that stops them from being in control. Now, I don't believe in political violence, but let me remind y'all of something. There was a German theologian named Dietrich Bonhoeffer who came to the United States and studied at Union Theological, who got an understanding of black liberation theology at Abyssinian Baptist Church. And Dietrich Bonhoeffer was so aghast at the evil of Hitler that he aligned with others to plot to assassinate Adolf Hitler. That's how much a theologian, a man of God, resolved within his own mind that it was important that this man was so evil they would assassinate him. I don't believe in assassination. I don't believe in murder. What I do believe is taking them out at the ballot box. I do believe I want Donald Trump come January to have to sit there and have a Democratic House and the Democratic Senate and completely shut him down. And if any one of if Clarence Thomas or Alito decide to retire, if the Democrats control the Senate, I want the Democrats to say, y'all can kiss my ass. We ain't gonna have no hearings until after the 2028 election. The same bullshit they pulled with Obama after Scalia died and would not give him that hearing. Democrats return the same energy. So you damn right. All y'all simple Simon ass FBA, ADOS, B1, whatever Negroes, call you Freeman, whatever. I want the Republicans to lose because the evil that they have unleashed on this country, and especially black people, must be fought with everything that we have. And that means, Greg, for them to lose.
Absolutely. And to all our friends, the foundational Black Americans, the descendants of slaves, and the Black First, which seems to be Black American First, I think your Lord and Masters, the ones that the trauma has driven you to wrap your arms around their legs and thighs and beg, thinking somehow they will come to some moral decision to give you some form of reparations. I think a week ago yesterday, when John Muhammad called for slavery to be declared the greatest crime against humanity in history, I think your Lord and Master showed you what they think of you by voting no. So we can we'll continue to help you. We're going to fight for you too. We know that you're sick and trauma has its challenges. I'm glad you mentioned Dietrich Bonhoeffer. He and Martin Luther King being two of the towering figures, both of them anchored in a moral response to evil. Last I checked, Jesus Christ didn't have a credit score or even any worldly possessions. So again, the whole question of the moral imperative in this is very important. You can't game a capitalist system or a white nationalist country like the United States of America. This is a moral question. It's not about party politics in terms of the moral issue, but it is, as you say, about party politics when it comes to a two-party system as we have it, and one of those parties is going to win. Trump is throwing his Barbies out. He is a phallocentric. He's a sexist. He's all the things you can imagine when it comes to the deep-seated anti-female, anti-woman beating heart of white supremacy. Eurocentrism too, for that matter. So he's discarding his Barbies. He got rid of the ice Barbie. Today he got rid of the lawyer Barbie. If I were the spy Barbie, I would keep my phone on silent. And of course, talking to you, Tulsi Gabbard, because it's what they do. Now, look at who he's going to replace them with. He upgraded at Department of Homeland Security. He got in his wrestling friend, Mark Wayne Mullen, who's going to be worse than the ICE Barbie. And in this case, the acting attorney general is his personal lawyer, the loser Todd Blanche. You remember Todd Blanche, don't you? He's the one who replaced the great Dr. Carla Hayden as the Librarian of Congress. He's the one who flew down to Texas to make sure that Ghislaine Maxwell keeps her mouth shut. He's the one who the FBI agents are suing now for the things he's on the record saying about them. Todd Blanche is Trump's hired gun. He's a man's man, and he's going to be out there, and he's going to fight with both fists. Why is this important, and what does it really come down to? We know the United States of America is at war right now with Iran, along with Big B, the international killer. So Israel and the United States at war with Iran. But Iran is bombing the Gulf states now, including the Saudis. So why is that important, and what does that have to do with what happened today? The chief thing that this racist punk ass who has no brain cells left, this man they keep giving tests to because they got to make sure that he doesn't go out and go straight bonkers. This man is terrified of one thing and one thing only when it comes to his life, that they're going to release the rest of them 3 million files and they're going to find them pictures. It's going to be the end of his political career. And so he thinks that Todd Blanche is better suited to help him, particularly since the Saudis now being bombed by Iran, all those Gulf states being bombed by Iran, and the Saudis put $2 billion in the pocket of Trump's son-in-law and his friend Steve Witkoff, the real estate and / crypto king. But the Saudis now are saying, hey man, we paid you for protection. We paid you to keep this thing. They didn't close the Strait of Hormuz. We can return on you. And if the Saudis and the rest of these people who are financing the Trump crime family turn on him, he's finished. He got one concern and one concern only, those files. He's put Todd Blanche there instead of Pam Bondi, because as much shade as she's thrown and as much trash as she's talked, there's one line that Blondie has crossed that that Blanche may not cross, but that comes down to the thing that we saw yesterday at the Supreme Court. I was listening to James Foreman Jr. yesterday. He was at Howard Law School talking to some students. One thing he said was, we got a side that believes in the rule of law, however complicated and flawed that law is. Then you got another side that doesn't care anything about the law. They're going to do anything they want. And I know you're about to talk to Cliff in a minute about this executive order and this bullshit that's illegal, but they don't care. What Trump is counting on is that Blanche's personal loyalty to him will make him throw all regard for the law to the wind and keep those files closed. And as you said, Reese, in the face even of subpoenas and orders and a law that says you had to have them open. This was about putting Todd Blanche in and getting rid of another of his Barbies. All those things are in play right now.
And see, and I'll just show you this here. Look at this graphic right here, and I need y'all to understand. Number of white-collar crime prosecutions by the Department of Justice. The orange is Republican. The peach is Democrat. This is from Bloomberg. Y'all, Ronald Reagan loved Wall Street. Ronald Reagan, look at this here. Y'all, this is the chart, y'all. This right here is Trump. This is the fewest number of prosecutions going back to 1981. In fact, check this out. I was looking at this Anthony Scaramucci, and it's been a lot of this going on. Now, it ain't like, I decimated him when he was on ABC, but even he finally woke his ass up to the nonsense that was going on. I saw he had posted this tweet, and he was talking about just how evil these people are. This is what he said. Let me walk you through what happened 1 hour before Trump announced the 5-day moratorium on Iran strikes. $1.5 billion in national S&P E-mini future contracts, 4 to 6 times normal activity. That was 1 hour before the announcement. Simultaneously, $192 million in crude oil futures purchased at the same time. They made between $300 and $400 million off those trades. Trump claimed he spoke to an Iranian official to negotiate the moratorium. The Iranians said that person doesn't exist and the conversation never happened. This is not the first time. It has happened multiple times. He says something, the trade goes on. He says another thing, the market moves. But whatever you call it, they are laughing at you and they are laughing at me while they do it. Hunter Biden sold a painting and Washington lost its mind. These people are making hundreds upon hundreds of millions of dollars trading on information that only exists inside the most powerful office in the world. I think we are dramatically underreporting how much money is actually being made here. This isn't politics anymore. This is a financial operation running out of the White House. And so when I listen to so-called black-loving black people who got lots of smoke for Democrats, but they don't say nothing about this here. They don't say nothing about the poly markets and all of these little betting apps and how folks are making millions and millions and accounts opening right before Trump makes an announcement. Y'all, last week, Trump pardoned 77 people who engaged in Medicare and Medicaid fraud. Straight ass fraud. Folk buying pardons. One dude got arrested because he tried to extort somebody who owed him money for one of the pardons. So it amazes me when I listen to these people who sitting here, yeah, man, he buck dancing for the Democrats, when these people are doing what we said they were going to do, rape and pillage this country. See, again, and that's somebody in the comments say, well, Roland, I don't like you and Greg going after people who are defending lineage. Let me explain something to y'all. The reason I can't stand these punk ass people, oh yeah, you know, he got Haitian descent. Well, that was my maternal, paternal grandfather's ancestors. So using y'all math, I got 4 grandparents, 2 on my daddy's side, 2 on my mama's side. So
don't defend yourself, bro.
No. But because John early, we're gonna call it simple math. We're just gonna call it simple math. So if I got 4 grandparents and one of them had ancestors that came from Haiti, that means I got 3 more. That's 75%. So you dumbasses gonna act like that 75% don't exist? That's how stupid the whole conversation is. But what I'm looking at right now, and we cover this stuff every day, Ed Bloom, right now, dropped a lawsuit against the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation saying the scholarships for the CBCF are race-based. They want to get rid of the money for the black folks. See, these little rich white kids, they can afford to come to D.C. and intern in somebody's office for free. These black kids can't do that. These black kids can't work for free in the State Department, in internships, and in fellowships. You got to have money. These white folks going after that. Y'all Negroes real silent about that. But y'all love to holler buck dancing. Oh, my God, he said there, support the Democrats. And these people are attacking every facet of Black America every single day. And y'all ain't saying shit. But you know why? It ain't no shock all of a sudden y'all start opening y'all mouths. It ain't no shock Amber Rose saying her bullshit to Nick Cannon on his podcast. You know why? Because y'all always show up around elections. See, I find it real interesting how a whole bunch of these Simple Simon Negroes were real quiet last year. They were real quiet when Doge was destroying billions of dollars of contracts. They were real silent when they were getting rid of grants for black health and sickle cell. Oh, I thought y'all was super black. Oh, they were slashing grants for black infant mortality and all those different things. But they were mighty quiet. Oh, but 2026 hits. And lo and behold, what happens? We got an election that's coming up. And all of a sudden, the usual suspects come running out from behind the rocks they've been hiding under. So I know some of y'all say, well, I mean, and then they always say, well, he always calling us names. If y'all call me a tether, I'm going to call you punk ass some names. And what I'm saying is, all y'all so-called super black people, y'all really anti-black. Because see, you're anti-black if you're quiet about what these corrupt thugs are doing, but then you ain't saying nothing. So I just want to know, all y'all with your little USB microphones, with your little YouTube shows, show me how many black families y'all have had on your shows whose loved ones have been shot and killed by the cops, but they can't call the DOJ. I'll wait. Show me how many of y'all are standing up when black DAs are being attacked. Oh, I'll wait. Show me how many of y'all are sitting here standing up for black women. 600,000 laid off, 700,000 black men. The black unemployment rate has gone up. Ain't it amazing how all of these loudmouths are mighty quiet about black unemployment going sky high, but y'all still got smoke for Kamala and Joe. Now, I ain't got a problem if you have a real critique of Kamala Harris or Joe Biden. But I notice you're real quiet about Donald Trump. And my last point before I go to my next guest, let me just go ahead and say this here, because I ain't got a problem saying it. And I told y'all I'm trying not to cuss, and I was really trying to hold back. No, leave it on the forge. I'm really trying hard not to cuss, and I really want to go there. But you sorry assholes. It's amazing how y'all had a whole lot of shit to say. Where Kamala? Where Kamala? We don't see Kamala. Where Kamala? What's she doing? But y'all ain't got shit to say about J.D. Vance. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing, you simple Simon Negroes. Where Kamala? Where's she at? She ain't doing nothing. What's she doing? She ain't doing nothing for our people. J.D. Vance ain't doing a damn thing. In fact, J.D. Vance is dogging black folks. J.D. Vance still ain't been held accountable for the bullshit he said about Haitians in Springfield, Ohio. That was a lie. But y'all super black folk can holler about, man, y'all sitting here, yeah. And I know all y'all gonna make your little videos, and I'm gonna close with this here. See, I don't need to get clicks mentioning your name, because your names are meaningless. Because if I add 10 of y'all up, you still don't equal this audience. So you're gonna need to use my name to get you some clicks. So I'm gonna go ahead and help you. All y'all can kiss my ass because you're actually anti-black. Because you don't defend black people, you don't stand up for black people, you don't invite the black folks on your shows, but what you do is you criticize other black people who stand up for black folks, and y'all use your little silly ass cover of, you walk dancing for the Democrats, oh, you a shield. No. See, smart black people understand that. See, A. Philip Randolph knew what he was doing in 1948 when Truman was running against Wallace and Strom Thurmond and also against Dewey. So he knew what was going on. So even though Wallace was a socialist, a progressive, he was putting pressure on Truman to use his power in the White House. And so Truman knew that he could not win the election if he did not desegregate the armed forces, if there was no civil rights plank in the 1948 Democratic National Convention platform. See, some of y'all are so clueless about politics that you have no idea what the hell you're even talking about, because all you're doing is smacking your gums and saying nothing. There's nothing worse than loud Negroes who say nothing, that have no context, no basis, no value whatsoever, and all you doing is just talking. Black people are literally facing life and death. Hospitals are facing being shut down because of the attacks on Medicare and Medicaid. And you simple Simons are saying nothing and doing nothing. So I want to see y'all stand up. And last thing I'll say, we cover a whole lot of black stuff. It's amazing. I ain't never seen you Simple Simon Negroes at any one of those events. Oh, I guess you can't leave the comforts of your basement or your closet to actually come talk to real black people. Speaking of real black people, let's bring up our next guest. Co-founders of Black Voters Matter. They're out there in the streets fighting the good fight. Cliff Albright. Cliff, we got what's going on now. Ron DeSantis is now, they passed the SAVE Act in Florida. Already the lawsuits are happening right there. Donald Trump now is saying that, oh, he don't have to abide by a congressional law when it comes to executive branch records. His mail-in balloting fake executive order already is being sued as well. Again, Cliff, for all the folk who don't get it, the people who say voting don't matter, voting don't mean nothing, and it's a waste of time, guess what? It's amazing how these MAGA folk spending a whole lot of energy to keep us from voting.
Yeah, Roland. Hey, thanks for having us. Yeah, a whole lot of energy. I mean, you just went through some of them, and that's not even touching on the potential for ICE agents being at the polling places. That's not even touching on the postal service basically saying they ain't got to deliver your mail or postmark it when you send it. That's on top of, these states that are trying to say it's not good enough for your ballot to be mailed by the deadline, that it's actually got to be received on that date. And again, going back to the post office, we don't know when it's going to be received. And so for folks that for something that allegedly doesn't matter, meaning these elections and our vote, they are working overtime, double and triple, quadruple overtime to find ways to make sure that we're not able to vote. Or that if we do overcome all these obstacles, that they'll then find a way to do what Mike Johnson did to the Latina sister who was elected to Congress and then had to wait like 2 months before she actually got seated, right? And so they work in double, triple, quadruple overtime to make sure that they're going to be able to try to steal this election. But we got news for them, and that's what our bus campaign is about this year. Our theme for this year is "We Got Us." Right? That in the face of all this that's going on, in the face of those economic challenges that you were just talking about, right? The hundreds and thousands of Black women and Black men that have lost jobs, the skyrocketing cost of everything, the skyrocketing unemployment, right? In the face of all this, when the institutions that are supposed to serve us and meet our needs fail, or not fail, but fail to deliver, because it ain't failing. Actually, they're doing exactly what these people wanted to do, right? But when that happens, at the end of the day, we got to have us. And that's what this year and this campaign is all about for us.
Latasha Brown's also with us. Latasha, I'm always trying to connect the dots, and I'm always trying to explain to people that they got to understand how the depths of politics. Here's the Florida Attorney General weighing in on the NFL's Rooney Rule, saying, oh, he's going to try to stop it. Just listen to this.
I'm Attorney General James Uthmeyer. Next week, the NFL's annual league meeting begins in Phoenix, Arizona, and the NFL draft is only a month away. Ahead of the annual meeting, my office is sending a letter to the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell regarding the league's hiring practices. Specifically, the use of the so-called Rooney Rule, which requires NFL teams to interview candidates based on race. The NFL's use of the Rooney Rule violates Florida law by requiring race-based considerations in hiring. Florida law is clear. Hiring decisions cannot be based on race, and the Rooney Rule mandates race-based interviews and incentivizes race-based decisions. That's discrimination. We're demanding the NFL suspend the Rooney Rule, and failure to do so may result in enforcement actions against the league for race-based discrimination. NFL teams and their fans don't care about the race of the coaching staff. They want a merit-based system that gives their team the best chance to win.
It was amazing. They damn sure want them black ball players. But again, this is a perfect example. This is the person who represents all Floridians, including black people, The Rooney Rule ain't even guaranteeing a job. It's just say, can we get an interview? And they still hire the same white boys. Now, for the person going, Roland, I don't know how this impacts us. Well, guess what? The Rooney Rule, if a brother does get the job, that has an economic impact. The economic impact on coaches that they hire, interns that they hire. See, that's what I keep trying to get our people to understand. Politics is not just about what happens at the State House or the county courthouse or the city hall or in Congress. No, politics impacts a lot of areas. And so who is in office is critically important to the issues that we care about.
I mean, Roland, there's no question about it. I think that part of, even when we're seeing, even with this room, just think about it. The NFL, 70% of the players, and this isn't about the NFL. I want to talk about what is the bigger piece is. 70% of the players in the NFL are Black, right? And only 9% of them are actually coaches. So if y'all got all the jobs, most of the jobs, we're running the ball, we make the sport. That ultimately, this isn't really just about this sport. This is really around how we're seeing white supremacy seep itself in every single institution in this country. And there's not only a political, it's just not only a political fight, it's an economic fight. As we're talking and debating whether you vote or not, or whether it's important or not, the truth of the matter is our pockets, they are cleaning us dry. They're taking our resources, cutting programs that actually benefit our communities and spending it on a war that nobody even know why they're fighting this war. In addition to that, they're socializing and making it normal that anything that actually seems that it benefits people other than wealthy white men, that in some way that thing is bad. Part of this is really about a distraction, in my opinion. Part of it is also about shifting the culture. The thing that we have to do is when you are at war, you have to use every single tool available to you. That Cliff and I often talk about when we've talked about Black Voters Matter, we've been very clear that our organization, we don't call ourselves a voting group. We're not a voting group. We are a power building group. And we use multiple tools. Sometimes that's using economic tools, how we're doing harm reduction to our communities. Sometimes that's really around this basic needs like feeding people by providing mutual aid, by coming up, showing folks who are doing protests or actions in their communities, but also it is voting. It is unconscionable for us in a moment to say that we can afford to not use every single tool, particularly connected to power in this particular moment when we're seeing the unraveling of all the progress that has been made to at least just open up the playing field and give us a chance. Ain't nobody gave us nothing. Everything that we've gotten in this country, not only have we deserved, but we've excelled in many of those because part of what we've had to do is work harder, fight harder, be smarter, be much more have much more flexibility to be able to navigate through things. And so I think part of what we can't get caught up in is just these individual hits because the chaos is the point. Part of why we're experiencing that it is to create so much chaos that it normalizes this process that some way and somehow that anytime you're doing something that is about inclusivity, that is bad and some way that it is open to be attacked. And we've got to push back on that. We got to use everything. We can't lose you. We got to use everything on the table.
You just said something that's critically important when you talked about the resources. And I'm always trying to tell folk that if you sit your ass out in the election, what you're basically saying is y'all spend my money any way y'all want to. Y'all have total control and I ain't got nothing to say. Yesterday, Donald Trump was at the White House with a whole bunch of fake Christians. And they so dumb that it was supposed to be off the record. The White House released a whole hour and a half event. So this is, I need people to understand what we're talking about here. Here is Donald Trump saying what we can't afford to spend money on.
Because the United States can't take care of daycare. That has to be up to a state. We can't take care of daycare. We're a big country. We have 50 states. We have all these other people. We're fighting wars. We can't take care of daycare. You got to let a state take care of daycare, and they should pay for it, too. They should pay. They have to raise their taxes. but they should pay for it. And we could lower our taxes a little bit to them to make up, but it's not possible for us to take care of daycare, Medicaid, Medicare, all these individual things. They can do it on a state basis. You can't do it on a federal. We have to take care of one thing, military protection.
The United States military budget, Cliff, is approaching $1 trillion.
$1 trillion.
That's right. $1 trillion. In fact, I would dare say it actually exceeds $1 trillion if you combine the Pentagon with what we spend on intelligence, including the slush funds that Congress has no idea what the money is being spent on. They just simply approve it. So when Donald Trump says, "Oh, we can," I love this here. We can lower, so you can lower federal taxes, but the state should raise state taxes. Excuse me. Second of all, by saying we can't afford it, that's also a lie. And then say we can't be doing that. For everybody who doesn't know, there's a thing called Community Development Block Grant funding. Right now, the federal government sends monies to states. South Carolina gets more money from the federal government than they actually send to the federal government. So, Cliff, right there, Donald Trump lied. But right there, he showed exactly damn the health care, damn daycare and child care. Oh, but absolutely, I need some more bombs and some more guns. Didn't Eisenhower warn us about the military-industrial complex? They got the king right there in charge.
You know, and speaking of kings, you know, I think it's interesting that he said all this, as you said, at this gathering that was with church leaders, right? And so, you know, it's remarkable. It's really not remarkable, but you know, just think about the contrast that you got these so-called faith leaders, and I'm assuming most of them, or no, all of them were Christian because they don't believe in any other religion, right? And so you got these people listening to this man who's ignoring you know, what they say they believe in, right? I know we got listeners from a whole bunch of different faiths, but the folks in that room say they believe in somebody who came and said that he came to bring good news to the poor, to set the captives free and give sight to the blind. And yet this person that they worship is telling, oh no, we can't put no money into you know, kids and daycare and food and all in health, like so he is literally the opposite, dare I say, Antichrist. He's literally the opposite of the things that the person that they say that they believe in, that they believe is God. He is the exact opposite of all those things. It reminds me of this past weekend I spoke at No Kings here in Atlanta, and one of the speakers was Senator Warnock, and you know, he said, Reverend Senator Warnock, and one of the things he said was, you know, I know not who this Jesus is that they go around talking about. This Jesus who's anti-gay, anti-woman, racist, and doesn't care about the poor, and evidently really cares a lot about the defense budget. Like, that's who it is that they want to, and it's important in our community. And I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole of Chile, but it's important because Chile represents some folk in our community with that faith background, right? What my wife often calls the Church of Confederacy. That teaching, that mindset is what drives some segment, not a huge segment, but some segment of our community to then follow policies and follow people that are incredibly anti-Black, that are rooted in anti-Blackness.
Well, I'll say this here, Latasha. That here's my whole deal with Chile. If that's who you are, own that. But don't be trying to scrub it. Don't be trying to delete. Don't be trying to drop videos saying, "No, that wasn't me. I hit the button." I mean, the button's confusing when there's only 4 damn buttons: a like button, a comment button, a retweet button, and a share button. It's like
how you gonna go back and delete all the stuff that you posted, but forget to delete all the stuff that you liked?
And again, but my whole deal is own it. And listen. If you're a Republican, be a Republican. If you're a Democrat, be a Democrat. But I'm going to challenge you to defend your faith with your public policy. And see, what people need to understand here, Latasha, is that what we are seeing was coming from on high, from their little G God Trump now hits the states. And so now it's South Carolina, Republicans in North Carolina, it's Georgia, it's Tennessee, it's Alabama, it's Florida, it's Mississippi. And so then what then happens is they're now saying, oh, also, we got control of state government. Now, cities, y'all can't do this. Y'all can't change your laws. Y'all can't. So even when you have black folks in control of government, Jackson, Mississippi, them saying, no, y'all can't do this. So it's getting people to understand that when we're talking about Trump and MAGA, we're talking about the entire infrastructure that is negatively impacting black people.
Yes. Yes. And I want to go further than that because I think that part of what I think is a real danger right now, like Trump is actually the danger that we have before us. But let's be honest, there has been a white supremacist, patriarchal Christianity that existed in this nation that justified slavery.
Yep.
That there used to be go on church after church, white churches in the South would go to church and after church would have picnics at public hangings. So there is a long history of this distorted, evil, anti-Christ, white supremacist, nationalist Christianity. What is disappointing is when we as a people cannot discern between that. And when people in our communities, because what black folks were able to do, particularly even in the context of Christianity, we actually gravitated towards liberation theology. If you go back and look at even some of the slave narratives that were captured in the early 1920s, they were very clear that the God, that the Christianity that their slave master was worshiping was not the same God. They were very clear about that. And so we have to be clear about that too. We have to be very clear about are we going to follow and are we going to stand for the Jesus of the Jesus that is talking about liberation and truth and the poor and how we share and how we love each other? Or are we going to actually support and align ourselves with this hateful, evil, unconscionable God that don't even like who he created? The God that they worship don't even like. He don't like the Mexicans. He don't like us. He don't like the Somalians. He don't even like half the folks he created, right? Because that is a little G God. I don't know if that's some idol. That's idolatry, right? But aside from, I'm saying that because I think it's important for us in this moment to not get to think that it's just a matter of we get Trump out and things are going to pop back to normal. There is no normal. We are in a different kind of mode right now. We have to literally, when we say we got us, we mean that.
Yep.
And we need our people to mean that. We have to be unapologetic about protecting the interests of our communities.
Yep.
And we have to move beyond our egos to think that there's some tool where I don't like that. Hell, I'm not going to vote because I don't like the candidate. Do you know how many black folks get up and go to work every day and don't like their job, but they got to feed their families? How many of our folks stayed in the fields toiling, doing what they had to do so they could protect them and theirs? That at the end of the day, it ain't about what you like. This ain't no social media platform that whether what you like and you don't dislike. This is about how can we use our discernment and strategically use every single tool that is available to us, one, to slow down this consolidation of power. And the midterms election is going to be it. The midterms elections are going to decide if this concentration of power, which is actually just obliterating policy that impacts and actually have created an open opportunity for black folks, if it actually accelerates or if we slow it down or stop it. And so I think it's important, or slow it down. I'm not even gonna say stop it. So I want to be honest around in this moment, we got to look at voting very differently. This isn't about participation. This is about we got to do by any means necessary what we need to do to protect our communities and our families.
Well, that's why, again, it's critically important to have y'all out there. I'm going to go to my panelists. Reese, you first. Go. Your question or comment for Latasha and Cliff.
Hey, Latasha and Cliff, thanks for all that you do. My question is, what is the money looking like these days? Because I know in 2024, there was $1 billion plus raised for Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign. But my experience at the White House was that money wasn't necessarily going to organizations that were boots on the ground.
25 was worse.
What was that?
25 was worse. But they'll talk about it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my question is, what is it? Not to count y'all's coins, but I'm just saying in terms of the Black organizations that have the credibility in the community that are doing the grassroots work. What is that looking like right now? Because we know that the Democrats are being vastly outraised in terms of the DNC versus the RNC.
That's a whole segment itself. You know, I want Cliff to weigh in on that as well. The bottom line is, I don't know a single Black organization that has not suffered some kind of loss in this moment. You know, part of our role and part of the reason why our campaign, when we launched We Got Us, is because a significant part of what we do is actually raise money and redistribute those resources to small grassroots groups, because we know that people are hurting. We've been very clear that we're not raising money just to protect, to take care of our organization, but we intentionally created an organization that could actually raise money to take these dollars, redeploy those in such a way that we can actually support groups on the ground. And so far, we've invested over $55 million, if I'm not mistaken, to over 800 Black grassroots groups on the ground, because we got to have us. We cannot depend on white benevolence to protect our people either. And so while, yes, I do believe that the Democratic Party or whoever it is, they should be supporting this work, because they're not acting like we're in the midst of fascism right now. That's just the truth. The truth of the matter is, what I want to say, I want to speak to the Black people that are out here listening, right? That $5, that $10, that $2,000 that you will pay to Louis Vuitton, that don't give a darn about you, your folks, and actually align themselves with these fascists. I like a good bag. I like good stuff like everybody else. But in this moment, we have to redirect our dollars to support the front lines, because we are all we got right now. And you would be amazed at those Black-led community organizations you see on the ground, those groups, whether it's us, whether it's the Urban League, NAACP, Black Women's Roundtable, Until Freedom, other groups that are doing work on the ground. It is important that we are supporting grassroots work, whether it's $10, $5, $25, y'all. Even this program right now, we have got to redirect our resources. Instead of getting that Amazon cart, and I know you got something in your cart right now, take that money and redirect that to a Black grassroots group that's doing this work. Many of our organizations are particularly doing service work. We're getting federal grants. That money has been cut off. Many of our organizations that were getting foundations, that's been cut off. It is really important that we don't suffer right now. We've got the resources. We just got to take our resources, be much more discerning with it, be much more conscious around our spending, and redirect some of our dollars to our fight.
Cliff?
Yeah, I mean, independent politics requires independent money. That's the bottom line, right? And so the money is not, to your question, the money's looking real funny. And it's been on this decline since probably around 20, heck, even started as early as 22, but definitely 23. So from 23 down 24 and 25, and this year's looking very much the same. And it's a combination of issues. Some of it is the whole anti-DEI. They had a lot of, philanthropy, scared to give to anything that appeared Black in any way. But some of it is different. Some of it is just a changing calculation, right? That I know, Reese, just in terms of political operatives, and just this notion of, hey, y'all, we need to get past race. We need to get past identity, right? That's actually the problem, right? Picture that. And so you have that within political circles, but you also have that being echoed in philanthropy, right? And so it's a combination. It's really a perfect storm. And then you throw on top of that, like just some of the economic challenges that has some folks and foundations holding on to resources because of uncertainty. It's a perfect storm that at the end of the day, we're being asked to do more. And I don't just mean we, Black Voters Matter, this entire ecosystem. We are being asked to do more, to face more difficult challenges and obstacles of fascism. We're being asked to do more with less resources.
Henry, go to my iPad. Folks, I'm going to Nola and Greg with questions, but since we own the money, y'all, go right there. As soon as you pull the page up, blackvotersmatterfund.org, boom, fuel the next decade of Black-led power. You can give right there. Folks, it is important. Latasha said it. We have to fund our own liberation. Nola.
Happy 10, first and foremost. That is amazing. And all the work that you all are doing, it is so powerful. I have a very simple question. What are you hearing in the field? What sort of feedback are you hearing? Are people understanding the assignment on the ground? Is there motivation? Is there inspiration? Is there fear? Is it a combination of things? Are people excited about voting? I'm just curious about all of it. What are you hearing in the field?
You know, I don't know if the word exciting, I don't think anybody's excited about voting. Excited. I mean, we ain't excited about voting, but I think people are very resolved, and Cliff can share as well. I think that there's a certain kind of resolution around we've got to protect our communities. And so people are paying attention, and people are organizing, and there are folks who are really understanding. They understand power. People who understand power understand how important it is to vote, right? We don't make it, we're not trying to make it be more than what it is, but we also certainly are not making it be less than what it is. The bottom line is there are groups that are already organizing, particularly a lot of the D9 groups, a lot of the social groups, a lot of the grassroots frontline groups that have been doing work around criminal justice reform. Those groups have actually been, what we've been seeing and hearing from them is that they've been organizing. And I think that there's a lot that's going in our community around people having some anxiety, all the things that you said, some anxiety around an uncertain sense of uncertainty. This current economy is impacting us. This current political environment is impacting us. So we're seeing all the things that you said. Cliff, you may want to share as well.
No, I think you both hit it on the head. It is a combination of all of those things, right? Like Latasha, I don't know if excitement's the right word, but highly motivated, right? And we're seeing that in all of these elections, right? Where we're seeing like huge turnout, right? In Texas, it didn't go the way that, certainly not the way that we wanted to see that primary go, but you saw a huge turnout taking place in that state and in every other state. One of the elections from last year, from 25, that I keep saying is probably the most under-reported, under-talked about elections wasn't the Virginia race. It wasn't the New Jersey race. It wasn't the New York mayor's race. It was in Georgia, where you had a public service commission race. If you are listening now and you don't know what PSC, Public Service Commission, is, guess what? You're not alone. There were a lot of folks in Georgia that didn't know, but over the years, we've done so much work educating folks around the connection between that commission and these utility companies and our utility bills. We've been talking about affordability before the rest of the country thought it was a cool thing to talk about, right? And what you saw in that election, while Jersey and Virginia and New York were fairly close races, in Georgia, that election was a blowout. Like, we're talking 63%. For the winning candidates, giving Democrats the control of that PSC for the first time in 2 decades. And oh, by the way, one of those candidates was a Black woman who won statewide in Georgia. Let me say that again. A Black woman won statewide in Georgia, and it's one of the least talked about elections of the 2025 cycle. And so we're seeing a lot of motivation. We're seeing a lot of people connect the dots around these issues of economics, our employment, our health, all these things, and connecting the dots to, oh, that's connected to this Public Service Commission. That's connected to this state legislative race. That's connected to this congressional race, Senate race, governor's race. And we think that all that's going to show up. But again, we're doing this in the face of historic obstacles in the form of the voter suppression that's coming from federal level, state level, and other levels as well.
Well, listen, you got the Democratic primary coming up May 19th in Georgia, Democratic and Republican primary. Look, you got 5 Black people running on the Democratic side for governor of Georgia. And let me just say to them, how is it none of y'all campaigns have called to come on this show? I'm just saying. Greg, go.
Indeed, a word to the wise should be sufficient. Thanks, Roland, and thanks, Cliff and Latasha. It's always good to see you all and be with y'all. Cliff, you alluded to something. You mentioned it in passing, the mail-in issue, as we saw Trump sign that worthless executive order that's going to be thrown out, and we saw what happened, obviously, in Florida and Mississippi. Could you all speak a moment about the question of early voting? Not mail-in. I've been saying that November the 3rd this year should be late voting day. We should. What's the importance of banking the vote, and how have you been? Because you all travel the length and breadth of this country. How have you been communicating with the folk and listening to the folk and trying to urge people to get out there when the polls open early and try to bank as much of that vote as possible? And thanks again, and happy 10th.
Thank you. You know, we always love to share space with you. You know, we've been talking for years now about trying to get as many people as possible to early vote. You know, in Georgia, that was a big issue after the success of the vote by mail in the 2020 and the 2021 runoffs. And then they came out with the voter suppression attacking that. And we saw the writing on the wall and tried to get people, you know, as much as possible to move into early voting. And now that's more important than ever. But the reality is that we got some folks in our community that's not an option, right? That doing the vote by mail is really the only thing for reasons of, you know, disability or other issues. And so we still got to have the mechanisms to make sure that we're able to do that and protect those ballots, even in the face of it, where we got some states where we're doing that, it's almost been criminalized, right? But we know that we still got to have that infrastructure in place. But to your point, yes, we want as many people as possible to early vote. But again, not every state has it. Like this week, just yesterday in Alabama, well, not introduced, but you know, a couple of weeks ago, we introduced the ecosystem introduced the Voting Rights Act that does a couple of things to expand voter access, including creating early vote days, because we don't have that in places like Alabama and some other states, heck, including some blue states, by the way. And so, you know, part of this battle is getting more and more states to even adopt early voting as an option. And certainly in places where we have it, we try to do everything we can to get the resources and the messaging out there for folks, so that you don't have to wind up like what happened in Dallas in this primary election, where something happens on election day and there's a mistake, or like last in 24 with the presidential, when you got bomb threats, which again is didn't get enough attention, bomb threats at largely black precincts, right? And so anything can happen on election day. To your point, we're trying to do everything we can to get where it's possible for people to early vote, and where it's not possible to make it possible.
Go ahead.
I just want to add a couple of quick things to this too. I want us to think about, one, it does give us the opportunity to cure the ballot. And so we know that they're coming with, the bottom line is they're going to try to steal this election. That's not even questionable.
Yes.
That there's going to be an attempt to try to steal this election. And so we need to vote early so that we can get in position, so we can actually, if there are problems, that we can work those problems out. The second thing too is, you know, Black folks, that in terms of our work schedule, many of us don't have a 9-to-5 work schedule, right? Mm-hmm. What we've seen all kind of tricks of the trade. And so we're going to have to, we need the space and the flexibility so that we can actually show up in those numbers. Over 26% of Black people actually use absentee ballot voting. Part of that is whether they're caregivers, sometimes it's based on the difference in schedule. The third thing, which is a piece of me of just being a good organizer, is that we need folks to vote, go and get that out the way so they can go and bring 10 more people to polls. That you need to go on and vote early so that you can come on and evangelize and get your family and make sure that everybody else take care of you and make sure that you take care of everybody else pulling them in. And so I think that there's the other thing is that it creates momentum. That oftentimes what winds up happening, particularly in election cycles, you need a momentum. So when people start hearing people are voting, when there's a buzz around folks voting, when folks see people on lines, it's like in a concert. You can walk by a space and you start seeing a line of folks down the street. You want to know what they're doing. It's something about that wants you, it piques your curiosity. And so I say that it's important to early vote as a process, as a strategy to help build momentum in the election cycle so that people come out as well. So there's a practical reason around that. Right. There's a reason around there's a safety reason around there. And there's a reason really connected to the momentum and adding and leading to the momentum, because momentum is catchy. That people, it's like a winning team, right? There might be 5 fans until the team start winning and everybody's a fan, right? And so once we start building that momentum, we can actually increase our numbers. So that's why it's really important, early voting.
Folks, so when are y'all hitting the road?
We actually
stay on the road.
We already on. We live on the road or in the air.
Well, where's the next place y'all going?
We've got a Georgia bus tour coming up in mid-April, in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And then after that, we're coming to your home state. We got a Texas bus tour that's going to be like last week and a half of April, and then we keep it rolling, for the rest of the year. That bus doesn't start moving. It's the blackest bus in America. Which I think that the first time we used that expression, Roland, I think was actually talking to you when you were doing your Tom Joyner segments. And we called in one morning and we said, yeah, we on the blackest bus in America. And it's been rolling ever since.
Absolutely. Well, listen, folks.
I'll say this, Roland, real quick. I just want to offer that because oftentimes people say what they can do. One, in addition to writing a check, supporting this work, another thing you can do, you can actually volunteer with us. Go to our website. We have texting and phone banking where you can do from the comfort of your home. Every Tuesday, you would get trainings. We can actually show you how you can get your other folks engaged. We can do trainings for you or your organization. So please reach out to us. We are a movement that's based on our movement. We're one organization of many organizations that are doing really good work. And we want folks to get engaged this particular cycle. So there's no excuse. We got work for you. We need you. We need your support. We need your resources. We need your time, your talent, and your treasure.
Folks, this is the website. Go to blackvotersmatterfund.org. Hey, y'all, pull it up. When you go to the website, you're gonna see it right here. No. I don't want to see the video. Scroll. I need you to see where to give money, y'all. Click donate. If you're on the site, click donate. Okay, I need y'all to click donate. Thank you very much. All right, folks, I keep telling y'all, go back. Thank you. The donate, y'all. Go to the site. We need y'all to give. And just so I want y'all to understand how we rock with Black Voters Matter. I've rocked with them from the beginning, whether it was on Tom Joyner Morning Show, TV One, all of them, and then, of course, on this show as well. And just so y'all know, okay, in our studio, okay, now y'all know we got our Black Lives Matter mural, we got our First Amendment mural, we got our mural, Black Owned Media Matters mural. So in the office over here, now I got my favorite scripture, Joshua 24:15 right here. But in one of our offices, boom, right there.
Oh, wow.
Latasha, you didn't know that?
I did not know that. That has made my day.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's right.
Awesome.
So,
and listen, that's the workroom right there. Listen, that made me feel good. That's where the work go down.
Well, we got a whole bunch of new stuff, so we're gonna put some equipment because this is our equipment room, and it's a whole lot of stuff in there. So yeah, this is one of the murals here, and so again, we got our we got our Black Owned Media Matters mural that's in my office. Then of course we got our Black Star Network mural here. We got the Black Lives Matter mural here. This is Freedom's Journal, the nation's first Black newspaper. We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. And then we got the First Amendment mural that's in here as well. So we got all of that in the studio. So y'all know who I rock with and how we rock. And so, folks, we want y'all to support. And I will say this: I got no problem saying this here. Black Voters Matter, folks. In terms of Black organizations. One of 5 Black organizations in all of America that's rocked with us, supported us financially. One of only 2 that supported us every year financially. And so, again, we out there live streaming stuff. We were out there during COVID with those rallies all over Georgia, broadcasting. That's important because it's important to talk to the folks who show up at the rallies. But using digital media allows us to also be able to reach folk who can't be there in person and still spread the message. And so congratulations on 10 years. Let's keep giving them hell.
Can I just say real quick, because I just want everybody listening to understand, if you're listening to this, you've got a role to play, right? And your role may not be Roland's role, like to have a studio, to be doing the media. It may not be our role to be funding the work or traveling around on a bus. It may not even be your role to be like a speaker at a rally or something. Your role might be, as Roland said, to donate. It might be to join us on some of our texting that we do. We're doing texting like every week in all across the country, right? You can do that from anywhere. Your role might be visual graphics or something. It might be to cook the food for the community meeting, but it's important that you find your role and get involved because all of this doom scrolling, like all of this just listening to like the news is coming out about this crazy thing that this person do, the thing that keeps us sane is because we are connected to the work. And when we're connected to the work, we see that we are not alone, that there's some dope work going on all across this country in Black communities, and that there's a part for every single one of us to play.
That's it.
Find your space, find your niche, and get to it. And let's do this, y'all.
All right.
We got us.
Absolutely. Cliff Albright, Latasha Brown, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, brother.
All right, then. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Quickly, let's do Black Star Network headlines. I'm going to close it out with Greg. Reese and Nola had to go. I'm going to close it out with Greg. Sorry, we got Marketplace. So, roll the headlines, and then we'll do Marketplace. Go.
In a 2-1 decision, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Eighth Circuit upheld a lower court ruling that halts the enforcement of Arkansas's wet signature requirement. This rule, advocated by the Arkansas Board of Election Commissioners, mandated that voters submit registration forms with a handwritten signature and rejected any forms that did not include one. However, the court determined that this requirement had no bearing on a person's actual eligibility to vote and likely violated federal law. The judges sided with the nonprofit organization Get Loud Arkansas, which argued that the rule forced them to discard valid voter registration forms and interfered with their efforts to register voters. The family of a Black man from Alabama is seeking answers following his death while in police custody. A video shows 35-year-old Amarian Tunstall being dragged by 2 police officers on March 30th around 2:30 p.m. He was taken to the Monroe County Detention Facility, and according to dispatch records, medical crews were called shortly after 3:00 p.m. to tend to him, who was found unresponsive and a faint pulse. Well, the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency reports that emergency personnel administered Narcan during the incident, but their attempts to revive him were unsuccessful. The family is still unclear about the circumstances that led to his detainment, and the Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences will conduct an autopsy to determine the cause of his death. In Florida, a Black Democratic politician was found dead in her home. Police say Nancy Bowen's husband, Stephen, is responsible. She served as the vice mayor and commissioner of Coral Springs and was preparing to run for Congress. Police discovered her body on Wednesday morning during a wellness check, and her death is currently being investigated as a domestic violence incident. Stephen has been charged with premeditated murder and tampering with evidence. Law enforcement officials have stated that there are no additional suspects in the case. Nancy Bowen was first elected in 2020, making history as the first Black and Haitian American woman to serve as a commissioner in Coral Springs. A Black 7-month-old baby girl was tragically killed by a stray bullet in a senseless shooting in New York City. Baby Corey was shot while her parents pushed her in a stroller on Wednesday afternoon. She was seated in a double stroller with her 2-year-old brother when loud gunfire erupted nearby. Her mother ducked into a nearby bodega where she noticed her bleeding. The child's father then rushed her to Woodhull Hospital, where she was pronounced dead. The child's mother reported that her son was also grazed by a bullet in the back. The New York Police Department believes the shooting was gang-related. One person of interest is in custody, and police are now searching for a second suspect. Federal immigration agents will be present at Marine Corps graduation events this week at Parris Island, South Carolina. Officials state that the measure is part of enhanced security as families visit the base in preparation for Friday's graduation ceremonies. This is the first time in recent memory that federal immigration authorities have participated in access operations at Parris Island. New entry requirements now mandate that visitors present a U.S. passport, birth certificate, or real ID, tightening access to one of the nation's primary marine training facilities. The Chicago Bulls have waived guard Jaden Ivey, citing conduct detrimental to the team. Despite his release, he will receive his full salary of $10.1 million for the season. The decision follows Ivey being shut down for the year on March 26 due to ongoing knee issues. In recent weeks, the 24-year-old has gone live on Instagram multiple times, sharing his views on religion. He criticized Pride Month and labeled Catholicism as a false religion. Just days before his release, Ivey told reporters, "I'm not the same J.I. I used to be. I'm alive in Christ." Previously selected on the number 5 overall pick in the 2022 NBA draft by the Detroit Pistons, Ivey is now expected to become an unrestricted free agent after clearing his waivers.
All right, folks, if you're into comic books or anime, this is just for you. Saturday AM is a global inspired comics brand that showcases diverse action storytelling from independent creators worldwide. Since 2013, it's developed an expanding catalog of releases that celebrate representation, fresh voices, and high-energy visual storytelling. Frederick Jones, the publisher of Saturday AM, joins us right now. I'm glad to have you here. All right, so listen, y'all got all sort of stuff, but where did the interest come from?
Man, look, I was in the comic books when I was younger, and you know, it was such a huge part of my childhood. And when I discovered anime and manga, it really, you know, it was long before it became popular here in the U.S.
But first of all, explain. You said anime manga. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's different from anime. So what is anime manga?
Yeah, so I was just combining both words, but let me break it down for you. So anime is just the animation.
Right.
We have animation here. So instead of cartoons, they call it anime. Manga is just comic books. It's just comic books. It's what they refer to comic books as in Japan. And so when I discovered it, you know, as a young African-American kid here in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, it just blew my mind because it was so different from what I was seeing from Marvel and DC.
Right.
And of course, what stood out to me that I didn't see a lot of us. And as I got older, became an executive in the video game industry and had a lot of success in various entertainment aspects, I started realizing that the data was even more concerning. Because as you know well, Roland, we're 13% of the U.S. population, but nearly every form of entertainment, Black people over-index. So in anime and manga, for example, we are at 17 to 18% of that market. Gen Z, however, Gen Z alone is 23% of the market.
Wow.
So when you start looking at how much we contribute to this art form,
yep,
and the level of diversity that you typically see in these books are, you know, pink hair, white hair, red hair, green hair versus Black person, Latino person, Asian person, or South Asian and so forth. I just felt, you know, I wanted to see something different with that. I wanted to make sure that our young people who were feeding this industry could see themselves as the hero, as the love interest, as the most intriguing character, and not just be some sort of either not a character who doesn't exist because they don't have that type of diversity in these worlds, or a character who wasn't interesting enough to carry the sort of energy that a main character carries. And so it was really important for me that we create Saturday AM to give families, to give young readers something they could really believe in and see themselves in.
You even have this book here, How to Draw.
Yes. That was, we have a couple of really big titles. In fact, right up here, all this entire top row are the books that we launched in the past 3 years. In fact, we got more titles that I don't even have up on that shelf, but just showing you how much we've put out into the marketplace. We're in over 30 countries, mind you. We're in Barnes & Noble's, Books A Million, every comic book store you can think of. But the big thing for me is that, I wanted to make sure that we had great titles like Clock Striker, which is Shonen Manga's first Black female lead character. Before Clock Striker, there was not a manga from Japan, from China, from Korea, anywhere that featured a Black female as a lead character. But when I would ask around, when I look at these how to draw books, which help a lot of young people kind of get into this art form, I was always curious why they never even attempted to draw Black characters. And what I was told was that the Japanese, society, and I know this as someone who's traveled there, is extremely respectful. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to in my life. But they're very respectful, so they don't want to do something that would make us feel like, man, that's disrespectful. And what it came down to is just representation, right? They haven't seen enough of it, so they didn't feel comfortable doing it. So I was like, well, let's create a book that our kids, that white kids, that Latino kids, that Japanese kids, that every kid and every young person who wants to endeavor to do art can do this. And in the book, we don't just profile, how to draw, a nose, how to draw eyes. Roland, as a 50-some-year-old man, I've never seen a how-to book that talks about black hairstyles. Dreads, cornrows, how to do a fade, everything we put in this book to make sure that everybody was represented, just like our manga.
Now, I remember growing up, there were comic book magazine. They were called comic books, but they were really magazines.
Yes.
No, y'all are books. So explain that as opposed to, the magazines that were called comic books, but these are books.
Absolutely. So in America, like you said, and by the way, that's still, let's not bury something here. Comic books are still big in America, right? Absolute Batman from DC Comics is killing it. But what happens is that you've got a comic book, which is, to your point, it's like a thin, magazine type format, full color, stapled, in the middle. So it's not like perfect bound or anything like that. But the thing is that with inflation and everything else that's happened, these comics are going for $5, $6 for like a 30 to 40 page comic book. Whereas, as you indicated, our manga are actually books. They're graphic novels. So these are giant books, 200 pages.
$15.99. I see $15.99, $13.99. Yep.
$13.99. That's exactly. We got a coloring book that's $10.99. So what we try to do is we try to make sure that we can be affordable, because the average young person today, Roland, what they're into, you're competing with Tinder, TikTok, Shopify, Spotify, Netflix,
video games.
We want to make sure that video game, exactly. So we want to make sure that we can give them, and more importantly, their family, some value to make sure that they've got something they can look for that not only features a lot of different characterizations and locations that they might that they want their kids to have a positive opinion about, like countries in Africa, like Latin America, but at the same time make them affordable. So there's value in spending that $13. There's value in that you're getting lots of pages, lots of content to enjoy. But in Japan, just to be clear, again, these magazines, this is what they have as comic books in Japan. So this is a thick phone book style publication that'll retail for about $5 or $6, and it includes several stories in here. So this would be the equivalent of like Marvel having like one comic book, not 15 different Spider-Mans, just one Marvel comic book called Marvel Comics. You open it up, it's got Spider-Man, Hulk, Avengers, you name it, in there for $5 or $6. Maybe American comic companies will get to that point one day, but what we decided to do was follow this model. So we have an app that people can download, and they have our content in there inside of magazines called Saturday AM and Saturday PM, and they can find the content they want. They can follow it every issue. But then once we've collected enough content, we then put it into a graphic novel format like you saw earlier, so that people can then enjoy their books, full
on. Greg, got a question?
Yeah, thank you, Roland, and thank you, Brother Jones. I'm a comic book collector. I don't have a box. I'm old school. I'm 60 years old, so I go every Wednesday and get my books, and I see more and more manga on the shelves. I confess to never having been into manga as much. I've seen like One Punch Man, I think was very popular, and I saw it get trending. I really do want to not only support you all, but I want to get in, and so I'm going to do that. I saw one of your titles in the Saturday AM series, Orisha. I found that particularly interesting. Could you talk a little bit about that? And is this one that has found its way into print? I do Big Planet here in DC, but I go to comic book stores all over the country. Wherever I am on Wednesdays, I go get my books. Could you talk just a little bit about Orisha and what was the idea behind that particular title? And thanks again,
brother. Well, first of all, brother, thank you. I just want to say, look, this has been on the bucket list for me. I've had this coming for 13 years, to be on Roland Martin's show, to have a chance to be here with some heavy hitters like Dr. Carr, Reese. I'm already happy. Latasha Brown too. Y'all made my day today. But Orisha, what I love about this title right here, first of all, Nigerian. We have a couple of creators from Nigeria. In fact, we have a lot of creators from Africa: Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, South Africa, Zimbabwe. So out of all the companies out there, we were very early and very quick to recognize that talent can come from anywhere, and that I most certainly going to recognize talent out of Africa. But Orsha is a fantastic young adult title where you've got this young kid named Abuki, who is he is a simple kid, very humble kid. He gets the power of the celestial seed that turns him to this godlike figure. And so he's struggling with the idea of what he can do with this power. He doesn't want to do anything to oppress anybody, but other people want him to use the power to oppress people, to gain riches, so on and so forth. So it's about a really kind of like Peter Parker, Spider-Man type character who's African, who's trying to do the right thing with all this power. And in the midst of it, he gets part of this giant conflict between big, powerful forces that are based on Nigerian cultural god figures. So it's a really fun book. It got fantastic reviews, and you can get all of our books you can get in stores. You can go on Amazon, you can go on our website and purchase these books, but these books are available in print, in digital, and so forth. But this is a fantastic title.
Folks, again, Saturday AM, y'all can, if y'all go to shopblackstarnetwork.com, y'all can check out all the works that are available for sale. I'm going to grab some of these right now. I'm going to walk right over to where we have our products, and we're going to have to get some more shelf space because we keep adding more and more companies to the listing here.
Yes.
And so I'm going to try to squeeze it in right over here. So, folks, if y'all want to support, again, these products, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Shopblackstarnetwork.com. Support Saturday AM, support these books, and support all these other Black-owned businesses that we have here as well. And so we appreciate you being on the show. Congratulations, and welcome to the shopblackstarnetwork.com family.
Roland, can I say one quick thing too? Two quick things. Number one, I'm a Sigma, so I had to throw that out there because I know you in Alpha. So
that's a nice little youth group.
And I couldn't help but notice Latasha Brown had that awesome, you had that Black Voters Matter, which I was so happy to see Latasha Brown on the show. Brother, we have incredible artists. This is also from one of our artists out of Nigeria. Please let me know if we can send you something like this. You can put up on your thing. I'm trying to get this right. We'd love to send you some artwork, man, to decorate y'all's halls as well as Dr. Carr, if that's something that interests you. We got so many talented artists, like I said, from all over the world, and it's just an honor to have a chance to get it out there in front of people who are actually talking about our community. I started this company so that more of our folks can be recognized. And it's a long process, but things like this help dramatically. And also, yes, Shop Black Star Network, super excited that they have our stuff available for you guys. So please check there first. We put all of our material up there.
Great.
So some you might know to find stuff somewhere, you can find it there.
All right. Carol will get you our address to get that. And again, we appreciate it. So folks, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Check out the product. Frederick, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, brother.
Greg, we appreciate being on the show. Again, Nola and Reese had to bounce. It's always appreciative and to have you on.
Roland, let me say thank you, brother, and also to the good brother Freddie Jones and to all the Sigmas. We congratulate you because the good brother Victor Glover is headed toward the moon, the first Black astronaut to head that way, and he does happen to be a member of Phi Beta Sigma. So you're absolutely right, Roland. We love to give respect to all of the folks. So just letting you know, man, you got a man headed to the moon for all of us. Of course, there will be an alpha there waiting for him, probably saying, "Hey, man, we've been up here for anyway." But
boom, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And so you just said all that to make Terrell feel good because he always got a little bruised ego in there. But between him and Henry, they be like, "Damn, another alpha on the show, another alpha." And I'm telling, I don't even know most of the time that they are alphas, but that's just what happens when you are in Alpha Phi Alpha. All right. Greg, I appreciate it. Folks, we appreciate all of y'all watching the show. Thank you so very much. Support the work that we do. It's critically important that you give. Folks, I'm telling y'all, we talked about with Black Voters Matter, talked about what we do. We got to fund our own liberation. If you want to contribute to us via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. That's for credit cards as well. Check some money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo, RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Be sure to download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swag. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Hats and t-shirts, all that good stuff. Plus all of these products. What are we up to now? About 40, 50? Give me a number. Let me know the number. All these black-owned companies. You can peruse the products in our marketplace at shopblackstarnetwork.com. Download the Fanbase app. Follow me at Roland S. Martin. Be sure to check out Brittany Noble every day, noon Eastern, right here on the Breakdown of Brittany Noble, the Black Star Network. And coming up right now, Second Opinion with Dr. Ebony Hilton. Another fantastic show. Of course, our new weekly health show, folks, getting you caught up. The most important information regarding our health. I will see y'all tomorrow right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Hi!